Om Shri Sairam. The morning was a feast for mind, lunch was a feast for the body, and now it's time to fuel the soul with insights that inspire and ideas that ignite action. Welcome to the post-lunch session. I invite Ms. Anagha Manoj to introduce the next speaker for the day. Thank you.
Thank you, Navya. It's a pleasure to welcome you all to the afternoon session of today's marketing workshop. As we know, in today's dynamic landscape, the difference between surviving and thriving is not just about offering great products or services. It's about how we understand the market, adapt to customer needs, and above all, differentiate ourselves in an environment full of competition. A great marketing leader, Seth Godin, once said, and I quote, "Marketing isn't about the stuff you make, but the stories you tell." I unquote. Today, we are about to hear from a speaker who has not only mastered the art of telling right stories, but also led companies to success in some of the most competitive sectors. As the Circle CEO of Indus Towers Limited, India's largest telecom infrastructure company, Mr. Ganta Dilip Kumar is a seasoned executive with over 3 decades of experience in driving transformative strategies across FMCG, retail, media, telecom, and EV charging sectors. His tenure at Vodafone Idea Group is marked by remarkable achievements, including the successful merger of Vodafone and Idea, and pioneering initiatives that have secured global recognitions. Mr. Kumar's passion for diversity, inclusivity, and sustainability is evident in his leadership style, which has earned him prestigious awards such as I Inspire Leadership Award for Diversity and Inclusivity. His role in securing a Guinness World Record for creating the largest paper recharge voucher shows his commitment to innovation. Today, Mr. Kumar will share his expertise on driving profitability and achieving market leadership in highly competitive industries. Through his deep understanding of market dynamics, strategic innovation, and customer-centric approaches, he will guide us on how to navigate challenges and emerge as leaders in our respective fields. Without further ado, please join me in welcoming Mr. Ganta Dilip Kumar.
Very good afternoon. Lunch seems to be very heavy for all of you. Yeah? I take this opportunity for giving me, this opportunity to come and talk to all of you. So I also did little bit of research before coming here. I have management trainees. So I asked them, as students, normally when guest lecture happens in your colleges, what is that you like? So the kids told me, "Sir, don't give us bookish knowledge. Tell me what is your experience and how you have learned from that experience." So I learned something from those kids, and whatever you're going to see is thanks to those kids who have guided me how to make this presentation for you. So this is what I'm going to cover quickly. In fact, I was just thinking, though I have not met most of the speakers today, but incidentally, all of us are talking the same thing, right? So when you hear my presentation, you will relate to all the 3 previous presentations and probably to the next couple of presentations that you will go through today. So in the interest of time, I will take you through some companies which did extremely well, which continue to do extremely well. Some of the names that you have taken, some were leaders but lost market share. We will talk about them. They were late entrants to the industry but became market leaders, and we will summarize basis these learnings that we have. Quickly about me, so that you can relate why these examples are given. Fortunate to have worked with some great brands in the span of 32 years. Most of you were not born when I started my career as students. I'm missing that madam who was asked about cost. This is an investment. I've hardly spent it. When I found out what is the largest size of recharge coupon in this world. And believe me, I went and did the largest size of coupon. I was the laziest person as a marketer, so I used the easiest way to achieve fame. And today I have Guinness Book of World Record in my name. You Google, you will find this. I've launched in Agra. I might have not even spent some few lakhs, right? But today, this is something that changed the market scenario in my circle. There is something else which we did, which continued to be a good practice to do. This is my experience, the brands that I've worked. How many of you relate to Parle? Right? Look at the, I'm missing ma'am, she left, but look at their consumer reach. This is all because of the marketing spends that Parle as a company has done. 80 years of legacy. Look at their consumer reach. Today, nobody is even closer to them. And why? I strongly believe their success is because they have many strong brands. Very, very successful. Parle-G, Monaco, right? Hide and Seek, Poppins, Rolla-Cola, Kiss Me, right? So many popular brands. They continue to invest. Sai and me worked together in Vodafone. They were the first one to invest in indirect distribution models, where as a company, they started reaching to even 1,000+ populations. They started servicing directly. They started increasing their range. They started building brands by selling small quantities without forgetting the need to invest in bigger markets. They invested in brands. They brought multiple distribution models to reach a different set of markets. They continue to invest in institutional sales. And that is the reason for that success. And today the company, after 8 decades, is a successful company. Now let's look at other story. Perfetti. I think all of you will relate to Center Fresh. They are the first one to advertise. They are the first company among the confectionery companies, such a small company, to invest in advertisement and even sponsoring of cricket, World Cup and our cricket teams. They acquired brands. Mentos, all of us relate. Mentos, Marbla, Frutella. These are the brands which all of us are famous. Center Fresh, Big Bubble are the other brands. They continue to invest in these brands. And today, the range they have, in fact, in 10 years, can you believe, 2013, they were 1,700 crores. Today, they are 3,000 crores company. And whom they are fighting? Giants like Mondelez, ITC, which has such a powerful arm strength, distribution strength. Confectionery distribution is all about the number of visits. It is all credit sales. As a sales guy, I used to go and collect 10 rupees from each retailers. Can you believe this? One jar of Mentos or a Frutella or a Center Fresh cost 120, 130 rupees. And the retailer pays in 10 rupees, 20 rupee change. So they smartly build their distribution model in such a way that Monday, one unit used to go with certain set of products. The other day, one more unit used to go with other set of products. Third day, as a company, from a retailer, other companies were getting 1 day share in a week. This company smartly started getting 3 to 4 times the same share from that. Because what will the retailer do? Whatever collection comes from the day, that only pays. Perfetti understood this model very well. So it is not just marketing, it is also what Sai does, sales, how to maximize sales, how to increase your range selling, how to ensure the product is available at every touch point. And ITC thought with their cigarette, strength, they can take over confectionery market overnight. But they failed to invest in brands. The quality of the brands are substandard. While they have distribution strength, but they didn't have the strength of brands. They outsourced the manufacturing facilities because they thought our core business is cigarettes, and we will, along with cigarettes, anything I can sell, the retailer has no option, especially the pawn shop guys have no option but to buy my products. While they made a dent, but they are yet to reach anywhere closer to poverty standards. Imagine 10 years if a 50 paisa or a 1 rupee chocolate company is making 3,000. How many companies do you think are in this world, in this country, are 3,000 crores? Not really. Very few companies. And Perfect is one of the such company which collecting 10 rupees every day from a retailer. It is the most toughest selling confectionery. When I started my career, confectionery, biscuits and blades. These three products, sir will agree. These three products, if you are a sales guy, then they used to say, you are in a wrong industry because selling these three products is the most difficult job. And this company constantly invested in the brands and they started increasing their range. They smartly acquired one more company which was globally doing extremely well but was not present is Van Mille. That's how Perfetti has become Perfetti Van Mille. They acquired brands like Mentos, Frutella, Marbles. You go to any star hotels, any conferences, I don't think without this confectionery, you don't find any conferences being conducted. While you see Mondelez as a market leader there, but it is primarily because of the price point they are selling, because their products are priced very heavily, and hence those products are, that company is having higher. But if you look at purely gums and confectionery industry, it is Perfetti which is ruling the game. And to me, I think that success is because of the range they have, the excellent merger strategy they adopted and brought it, the pricing strategy they were looking at it, and they constantly, from the morning we are looking, we are hearing consumer connect, right? How do you connect to consumer? How do you understand his requirements? How do you build brands which are suitable to them, which are liked by them? What kind of research you do? What kind of brands? In fact, some of their advertisements are very, very unique. In fact, today, if Perfetti is such a large brand, I don't know how many of you saw the TV ad of Center Shock, where when the guy eats Center Shock, his hair's all over the place, and and they know when to advertise. That's the beauty about Perfetti. They don't advertise throughout the year, but when cricket match is happening, they save all their money. And when India-Pakistan game is happening, that advertise. Today somebody was talking about Happydent. Again, the product belongs to Perfetti Van Mille, and the Happydent is brought from Van Mille. And today Happydent, the kind of innovative, during the cricket match, the light goes and somebody eats Happydent, the entire stadium is lit and the game continues. That the very small ad, it takes only a couple of seconds for the ad to come in, but it brings a lot of smiles on your faces, right? And that's how the product brand loyalty is built, right? From morning we were talking about consumer loyalty, brand loyalty. That's how big brands are built. Here is again yet another company which gained market share through innovative distribution models, right? They also invested, which I spoke about it. They acquired a strong company which is already doing well, and they are the one who understood jo dikhta hai bikta hai. They invested heavily on the jars. You go to any store, in the front you will find only Perfetti brands, right? And the moment you see, most of the time, none of us, other than our children, or when you were as kids, you go to buy confectionery. But otherwise, nobody goes. You buy Lie-Bye soap, there is 2 rupee change, chala, de do, I'll give it to my kid, or, I'll carry. Chloromane, you want to keep it back when you are, wanting to eat something. So most of, 80% of the actual purchase happens impulsive purchases. So Perfetti understood how the psychology of consumer operates, and they started investing. The jars are the longest one. Initially, when you have seen that, because why? Because in the clutter of 30 jars, they wanted one jar to really stand up, and the hand goes whichever is taller, right? When we are good, I'm a short guy. So when people are, I'm surrounded with tall people, obviously people look at them, not me, right? So similarly, the jar which is tall, the hands automatically goes either for the retailer or for the consumer. So that's how they started building their brands and consistently doing well. This is one story. The other interesting story, I had an opportunity to work with Pepsi. Now, this is again an interesting story. There are a couple of stories that I can tell you from my experience. Before Pepsi entered in India around 1989, right? And that point of time, you had all of us as kids grew up drinking Thumbs Up, Gold Spot, Limca. Parle Agro was the company, and they had 80% market share of soft drink industry. Balance 20% were all local players, right? In Anantapur, there will be one local bottler who will sell. Kadapa, there will be one more bottler. Hyderabad, one more bottler. Nellore, one more bottler. He will only confine to that particular district or region, and those people were contributing to almost 20% of the industry. Now, I will tell you two stories which can be a good learning for you. One story, Pepsi, at that point of time, when it entered in 89, it started with 2% market share. Today, they are 31%, while they are number 2. But look at Coke, which came into India. They acquired a company which has already had 80% market share. To me, I think Coke as a company, don't quote me outside, but as a company, it's a failure. I worked in both the companies, fortunately. But to me, Coke is a failure. Why? First 2-3 years, they were only trying to kill Thumbs Up, because they were thinking, and it is leadership vision which is lacking, which some of our speakers in the morning spoke. First couple of years, Coke thought, we are coming to India. Indian brands are lousy brands. Coke is the international brand. Across the globe, we should have Coke as our flagship brand. So they started downplaying Thumbs Up and all other parle brands. But Thumbs Up loyalty was so high, people refused to even accept Coke as a brand. And by the time they realized that we did a big leadership vision issue, and they started again promoting and making up for the mistake they did, but they lost. They gave the market share. So sometimes when the leadership doesn't have vision, the brands fail. And here is a classic example from Coke leadership at that point of time to try to undermine such a strong brand. I don't know how many of you are, how many regions are there in South India for any, any company guys you ask, they say 4 regions. But for Coke, there are 5 regions. And you are one of the region. We are sitting in one of the region. That time combined AP and Telangana state is one region. So if North India, South India, East India, each one of them, if they consume, say hypothetically 100 rupees, only Andhra Pradesh combined state used to have that much kind of sales. क्योंकि बिरयानी के साथ thumbs up पीना ही है, right? Unfortunately, Coke as a company never understood how consumer behavior. What does consumer like? In AP and Telangana, the people who eat spicy food likes to have something sweet, right? Even today, most of you, I think when you go outside the campus, probably you will try biryani with thumbs up, not Coke or Pepsi, right? They did a lot of tests, blind tests, this test, that test. But the bottom line is consumer preference was stuck to one particular brand, which was thumbs up. And this particular company did a big mistake of trying to undermine such a powerful brand, and hence today whatever they have today is primarily because of that. The other, I don't know how many, while Pepsi reasons there is a strong brand recognition, they started getting local brands, right? They have excellent pricing strategy. I don't know how many of you drank the Chota Pepsi, 5 rupees Pepsi. In fact, that 5 rupees Pepsi or Coke for that matter was brought to take market share from non-beverage company, the bottled companies like Rasna, Sunfield. So when this 5 rupees brand was now launched, this Rasna and Sunfield, where used to be a poor man drink, where you get a sachet and then mix it in water, and you serve to all the guests in your house. Once this 5 rupees Pepsi and Coke launched, obviously people thought now we can afford instead of 10 rupees, or because the sachet also costed around 5 rupees at that point of time. Today, and they ran that campaign. Obviously, it was not a profitable story. So over a period of time, once they achieved what they need to achieve, they withdrew that product. But they have those kinds of strategies to gain share, and local brands. 20% is a big market share in India. They acquired share from these local brands, and over a period of time, today you don't find any local brands anywhere. I travel across, but I never see any local brand other than these established brands. They have very effective marketing strategies. They, especially they know when, like, in the morning we were talking about it, sir was talking about festivals, events, how do you celebrate the, movement of truth, everything was related, and they nicely packaged it so that, for any celebration, any guest at home, any Diwali, you need to have Pepsi or a Coke along with you, right? They know who are the target groups. They constantly, try to build confidence in them. They are the first company to start investing heavily on merchandising. I don't know how many of you are aware. Today, tomorrow, whenever you go outside the campus, try and see out. Every retail outlet either will have a Pepsi merchandising cooler or a Coke merchandising cooler. India had seen the best of Visi coolers during the launch of Pepsi and Coke. We used to get it. I used to give Visi coolers worth of 5 lakhs, 10 lakhs to large accounts, because the consumption requirement is you need a chilled Pepsi, right? Unlike Anantapur, which is hotter and hottest all the time, the rest of the country is not like that. During summer, in fact, I don't know how many of you are aware, 70% of soft drink at that point of time, now there is not too much of seasonality, 70% of the business for soft drinks happens during April, May, June. Entire year business happen. So, and those days, the glass bottle used to be having almost 95% market share. So every time they have to, because in these 3 months, the market requirement goes up dramatically. But the glass, which is the important element to fill up into the bottles, the rotations were a big challenge. Like imagine if the plant is in Hyderabad and Anantapur, the truck has come, the truck again has to go back with same Pepsi bottle, Mirinda bottle, or Thumbs Up bottle, or a Coke bottle to refill and then come back to you again. So there is a gestation period. There is a transit period, right? There is a rotation cycle. And in a year, there are X, in those days, if my memory is right, I think we used to take 7 to 8 rotations per year, because the glass has to travel back, it has to be clean, and more importantly, if the production line on that particular day is Pepsi, only Pepsi glass can be used. Even if you are stuck with Mirinda, Thumbs Up, Coke, I can't use those bottles, because that day the line for 3 days or 4 days, it is going to be a Pepsi production or a Thumbs Up production. So what these companies have done, very smartly started selling one-way packs. Now, today, all of us, earlier, hardly any 4-5% of the sales of these companies used to be the PET bottles. Today, it is quite reverse. It is only PET bottles today. That's how marketing can change the consumer behavior pattern, consumption pattern, seasonalities. And that's how these companies who have invested heavily in merchandising, again, at that point of time when they invested heavily, that is a pricing issue, because you are buying so much of bottle, you are filling it up, you are selling at a lower price, because to make consumer habit, we need to give them at an affordable price at that point of time. So while the company might have made losses for 1 year, 2 years, obviously they might be buying the PET bottle hypothetically at 10 rupees, but they are charging the customer only 2 rupees. But that's an investment they're making for the future. And that's the vision of the organization to invest, thinking that, over a period of time, we will change the consumption pattern from 5% to 95%. And today, they've beaten the seasonality. And this is how big organization think, work, and invest for the future. I'm a big admirer of Pepsi and Coke, how they are changing how we think, how we consume, right? Today, you can order soft drinks through Amazon, Flipkart, Instamart, all this, right? So I think that's one big change that, some of these things I've already spoken. Ma'am have told me that I have 35 minutes, so I'm conscious of that. So let me be slightly faster. So to me, my biggest lesson is that while Coke has acquired Thumbs Up, the merger process or acquisition process is pathetic. While I told you Perfetti Van Mille merger was the best execution, here the execution of acquisition of a company which had a leadership position of 80% failed, which resulted in loss of the Coke market share, while Pepsi was the beneficiary of that. Now let's come to some of you already spoken. When we started our career, having a BlackBerry, if you're a company CEO, then you will only having BlackBerry. If you're a smaller guy, medium guy, sales guy like me at that point of time, Nokia chota sa pakad ke market mein gumo. That used to be the trend. There are only two. Either you are rich, like the way it is in India, either you are rich or poor. There is no middle class types. So look at the company sales. Nokia, from 45% share to in 2013, they're wiped out from the market. Look at BlackBerry, from 23%. Obviously, it is a premium brand. So from 23% share, they came down. And look at Samsung. I worked there, so I chose to pick the company that he worked earlier prior to joining here. So Samsung smartly took the advantage because they came with, so they refused. They had this arrogance. We are a strong brand. BlackBerry and Nokia had this arrogance saying that we are a strong brand. We are secure phones. We can't get into this. And even though they were having aspirational values in the initial stages, they miserably failed. And today we see both the companies are lost. So what is the learning from me and you here? They failed to invest in the research and development, which is something that, probably for every activity, whether you talk, now you are saying artificial intelligence and other things, but primarily what we are doing, we are trying to understand the, psyche of the customer. So research and development is something that they fail to invest. They fail to understand consumer. Perfetti understood the consumer behavior well. Parley understood consumer preference very well. But these two companies failed to understand consumer preference. They refused to adopt new technology, and they were happy with the small customer base that they had at that point of time. Now let's look at, so even after being the market leader, you need to constantly invest in your R&D and technology. Now look at one more story. We have seen companies which were stable, right, and continue to be stable. We have seen the second story where companies were big, they failed miserably. Now I'm telling you one more story of Jio, and all of you sitting here later. They entered a market which is very, very cluttered. As the telecom guy, anybody I speak at that point of time with my 15 years of experience in telecom, with confidence I can say, India can't afford to have more than 4 players, right? And at that point of time, we had 10 players. They were, very big brands like Tata Docomo, Etisalat, Uninar, many other, Arcom, Aircel came into market, right? Now all these companies were there along with Vodafone, Idea, Airtel, BSNL, MTNL. So in a market which can only afford 4 players, they came in 2016, right? Now look at what happened. What I did is for the benefit of easy understanding for you, though the merger didn't happen, but I tried to club the market share of Vodafone and Idea at that point of time, which was 35%, and look at how they dropped 18%. We'll come to the reason. Jio was here. Look, they are the market leaders today. In India kind of a market, you're not available in the market till 2016. And in 4 years, 5 years, the company has achieved what most of the companies in the world didn't even dream to achieve. While we saw the failure of Vodafone Idea as a joint company, combined today they are 18%. Look at Airtel, smartly they managed to sustain the storm or tsunami of Jio, but smartly they took their share to 33%, right? And what happened to the 33% share which was there with others, the small players? Aircel, Arcom, Uninar, Etisalat, all vanished in 2 years of Jio launch. And in telecom, if you have to enter the market, the investments are in lakhs and lakhs of crores. Today I can set up a factory if I have 50 crores or 100 crores, 200 crores. That factory will run for till my grandchildren comes into earth. But in telecom, the investment is constant. Every year you need to invest in technology, lakhs and lakhs of rupees. And here there are 5-6 companies which went out without even taking single rupee from the market. They made huge losses. Right? Now let's look at what happened. While Airtel, Vodafone, Idea, BSNL, MTNL, Aircel, Union, or you name all the companies, they assumed, they have not again invested in the R&D. They assumed that India is not ready for 3G and 4G. So I was part of that. So part of that thinking tank, which thought, and I'm equally responsible for whatever happened to the industry. But at that point of time, we were thinking that today there is no 4G handset ecosystem. In India, again, we have misused the research and analysis. We said today the data shows that only X percentage of the handsets are 4G enabled handset. So what is the point of launching? We were carrying 2G, 3G, and our costs were higher. There is a smart guy who has done his own work. He didn't get into 2G, 3G. He has not wasted single rupee investing in 2G, 3G. He has started directly with 4G, and he went and penetrated every nook and corner of this country with 4G technology. And by the time we realized what went wrong, how we went wrong, it took a couple of years for us to realize that here is a man who had a vision for India, who has really understood the requirement, and the way the data was giving, auto drivers, your housemates, everybody was consuming data. I remember spending 275 rupees for 1 GB data. That is the price point I sold. Today, data is available for free. Right? Today, each one of you will consume 1 GB data for every half an hour. Either you give excuse of looking into your college syllabus or whatever information, but today everybody consumes at least 4 to 5 GB data. In those days, 1 GB data for 1 month. That is the package, 275 rupees, 1 GB data. If you have bought, you are a very rich guy in those days. Versus consuming every 15-20 minutes 1 GB data now. Right? So Jio really understood the consumer psyche, and they kind of adopted the technology. They have capitalized the technology because they were not having 2G, 3G. They managed to kind of spend their money only on 4G technology, but maximize the benefit. Their penetration was amazing. Overnight, they built the towers. They gained share from small players, which really went out of the market. They also started bundling handset ecosystem. They started giving 4G handset. I don't know how many of you remember Samsung phone with 500 rupees with a bundled offer, right? So people used to stand in queue to get those handsets. Free. 3 years, right? So their marketing campaigns were very, very attractive. So here is a company which is Jio, which made right investment. And even though they are late entrants, they managed to acquire market leadership through their innovative strategies, right? And Vodafone Idea is another classic example of not, both the companies, one Vodafone, which is UK-based company, Idea is Indian company, both the cultures never met. Even today, the employees there are two different employees. One set of people who are from Vodafone, they continue to behave like and think like Vodafone. There are one set of people in the same company who are from Idea background, they continue to think Idea ways of looking. So while the company, their visiting cards became the same, but their minds never became the same, right? And that is the reason why Vodafone Idea company, me and Sai spent donkey's year there. So, we feel bad what happened to the company today. Fortunately, we left before the fall of the company, right?
Marketing campaign with that puppy.
Yeah, that is Hutch, man. That is Hutch. That is primary, prior to...
Those full sets of...
Yeah, they continue to use, but yeah, Zuzu ads. No, that ad Vodafone as a, believe me, today I can, with confidence, I can tell you, if both the companies continue to operate today, as they were operating independently, they would have made more money and turnover and market share. So the merger completely failed, destroyed them completely. Yeah, there was complete cultural unfit. The leadership.
Because of the Reliance money, had invested a lot in the optic fiber and laying the ground and all that. They had rich money.
No, they have. But ma'am, the vision of investment, when there is no handset ecosystem, trying to give handsets, the bundling offers, that, the entire intentions to change plan. Because money, everybody had, ma'am. What Ethesla didn't have money. Uninor didn't have money. They had money. They are all, much bigger companies and they're doing extremely. Vodafone had money. But it's just that, they underestimated the market. They never thought India can afford, this kind of consumption.
75 full talk time is what we
Yeah.
used to debate. Customer is spending 350 rupees in a month. Still 75 only you will top up. Is what we used to give full talk time at 75. There is a guy who came and said 699 is the starting price. Everybody migrated. The old team, if you ask, none of us believed that 699 in a single shot people can.
Because we were looking at trends. ARPU, average consumption of mobile phone consumption spend is 105 rupees in India. Prepaid customer this much, postpaid customer. So we were too inward in our thinking.
Exactly. Data is the spoiler there.
Yeah, here actually too much of analysis has become paralysis here.
Indian consumer
Yeah.
mentality, or what they lack, and
Yes.
what they need versus what they want.
Very true. So, yeah. So innovation, investment in technology and understanding of consumer preference. Once, if you do, even as a later trends, you can become a market leader. So, ma'am, hope I'm within my time, my last slide. So as I believe most of the things today, if you relate, the earlier speakers have spoken about it, how important is leadership vision, because you have seen how, with vision, how companies did well, without vision, how companies collapsed. We have seen how product mix has helped the companies to sustain. Parle-G is a big example. How distribution helps, how pricing is critical, packaging, how do you package? We have seen in the example of beverage industry, how the PET bottles have changed the entire game there. Innovation in technology, we have seen as an example from Telecom. Branding, we have seen from Perfetti, how a 50 paisa or a 1 rupee chocolate can become such a global leader. Change management is something that we have seen in BlackBerry and Nokia, that they refuse to change, thinking that, what we are doing is right, this is the best way to do. We are not like, other players. We will not come in dual SIM market. So some of those things, and obviously people, leaders make a difference, right? So you need to have the right kind of people. And for profitability, cost management, how well you manage your cost, where do you spend, how do you spend, how do you, maximize the spend. Like I gave you an example of Perfetti, they saved their entire advertising budget, but advertised when it is required, right? So that is also important. Pricing strategy, we have seen, right, how that Chota Pepsi has helped them to gain share from the small players, and geo pricing strategy, the way they've given data free, right? Demand and supply management, again, I'll go back to my beverage example where 70% business was happening in the 3 months, balance months, only how they have kind of manage that entire ecosystem. And we have heard and continue to see how effective marketing and advertising strategies can build brands. Thank you. If I have any questions, then I can take, because after this.
Thank you, sir, for your wonderful insights. So, there's a curiosity in me that in a market where e commerce is growing rapidly, what's the future of retail chains, and where is the typical sales in a typical mom and pop store is going in today's world?
In India, again, sometimes this research or what we think may not be relevant. We have seen some examples. So, but yeah, when you go to Europe countries, the contribution of pop and mom stores contribution is very, very negligible. Not even 20-25% of the business. But in India, we continue to have. And the other thing that you might have been observing today, most of the Insta Smart, and even though you're using e-commerce, most of the time, big companies have their own, like Amazon has their own centers to pick up. But most of the other companies' products, they go to the nearest store. See, for example, I stay in an apartment, right? My wife says I need a coconut. Now, on a Saturday, I'm lazy to go down and go to, though the supermarket is in the basement, I'm lazy. Believe me, at times, in fact, 98% of the time, ordering on Instamart is much faster delivery than me going and getting it from the ground floor. So these guys, so somewhere the e-commerce business is continuing to growing, because the guy is only going to the nearest pop-up. So basically, like the way Swiggy guys are near restaurants, these guys are in that vicinity, and they try and pick up, the moment they got an order, they go to the nearest store which is close to my resident, they pick up and come to my house. So the gestation period is only 5-10 minutes. So I think they coexist, they complement each other. Like today, Uber, Ola has come. Today, what happened to autos? Auto continue to be there. In fact, they're getting benefited. They're getting benefited because they also started downloading that app and using it. Now, at least today, as a child, as we grew up, especially most of my time I spent in Chennai, we used to say Chennai auto drivers very arrogant guys. So there was no discussion only. Even auto, you book it on app, right? So that guy is also existing. Uber, Ola is also existing. Cabs are also being used. So I think the market will increase. The demand will increase. The number of people earning in a house is growing up. Earlier only, typically, when I started my career, only father used to earn, balance everybody. Today, everybody is earning, everybody is ordering, everybody's ability to spend is gone up. So I guess it will continue.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am.
From Parley's legacy to Pepsi's spark to Perfetti's sweetness to Coca-Cola coolness to Geo's tsunami, there is one thread running. Understanding the customer, embrace the change. Behind each of this success, there is one person, leader. A one who shows the way, knows the way, and goes the way. Thank you, Mr. Dilip, for those profound thoughts. And now I request Dr. Sai Manohar to present a token of gratitude to Mr. Dilip as a gesture of our heartfelt appreciation. Moving forward, as the renowned business leader Peter Drucker once said, the aim of marketing is to know and understand the customer so well The product or service fits them and sells itself. This quote perfectly encapsulates the journey and expertise of our next esteemed speaker for the day, Mr. Sai Venkatraman, a seasoned leader with an impressive 19 years of experience in sales and distribution across the FMCG and telecommunication industries. Currently serving as the Vice President of Sales in FMCG business at CavinKare, Mr. Venkatraman has played a pivotal role in driving sales and distribution strategies, ensuring market expansion and strengthening brand presence. Across key markets, including all four southern states, Gujarat, Madhya Pradesh, and Rajasthan, his extensive career has taken him a long way. Before his tenure at CavinKare, he held significant leadership positions at Samsung India Electronics, Vodafone, Hindustan Unilever Limited, HDFC, and GlaxoSmithKline Consumer Healthcare, where he honed his expertise in team management, competitive analysis, and key account management. A proud alumnus of Periyar University, where he earned his MBA in marketing, Mr. Venkatraman has also completed an executive MBA, an executive general management program from IIM Bangalore, exclusively designed for leaders at Hindustan Unilever Limited. Today, Mr. Venkatraman will be sharing his expertise on the topic Sales-Driven Marketing, Aligning Strategies for Market Success. With his vast experience in sales leadership, strategic distribution, and consumer market dynamics, he brings a wealth of knowledge that is invaluable to aspiring marketers like us. Please join me in giving me a warm welcome to Mr. Sai Venkatraman.
That's it. Okay, no? So good afternoon all. Pranams at the Lotus Feet of Swami. I think we are blessed today to meet up here. It's only Swami who has decided, correct? We all are only playing the roles. Thank you, Swami, for this opportunity. So how are you all? I am not going to stand in the stage here. So I'll be with you. See, I also feel like a student. And more so, when you grow up later, no, it's very, very important you are grounded. That's what actually Dilip, CKR today, wherever I'm working, the old bosses for me have all taught us. And Swami also used to say, right, every time he spends a lot of time with you people. Why? But he also wanted to be grounded, and it's always good that we learn each other, right? So on that note, how was the day today? Good? Very good. But a lot of people are sleeping, huh? There's no Josh. How is the day? Come on, yaar. I've been told girls are very strong. Correct? Whitefield boys are little, weak, and girls are always strong. Is it true or not true? Then that's the voice we have to hear, no? Good afternoon, all. Fantastic, yeah. So great. I think lot of learning. People are talking about change. Correct? Is it change happening only now? It's been happening all throughout. What is a new dimension to the change? Okay, technology. See, today you are seeing AI as a technology. Old digital as a technology would be the better technology. It always evolves, but the speed at which the change is happening today is remarkable. Example, this is not part of the subject, what I'm going to take you through. When we studied, probably assume my parents, when they studied, only one course is good enough to survive the entire career. True? Your parents, you can look at it. So then when we all join, at least I need to have 3 curriculum. I complete my course, post which I did my IIM Bangalore. Today, as we speak, I am doing one more course with the IIM Lucknow. So unless you reinvent yourself and continue to study, because the dimensions are changing. When it comes to you, how fast is the change? Tremendous, right? Whatever you studied 2 years before is no more relevant. Just a story on e-commerce, right? People said e-commerce is a new engine. Just now somebody was asking, modern trade, e-commerce, GT, what will happen? You won't believe today, e-commerce is dying. Can you believe? That's a fact. Quick commerce share is now, quick commerce is growing at 65% and e-commerce is flat. Not by my organization. Pan India, it is the story. Amazon is struggling to grow. Why? They missed the bus on quick commerce. They didn't read the consumer well, while Amazon is a global leader. Still, he missed the story of the latest trend order. That's the only thing which is changing. The change is much faster today compared to the change what used to happen in the past. But change is inevitable. That's the only area you have to keep on reinvesting. The guys who are adapting to the changes will live long and they can shine to the best extent. So to all of you, don't think that this study is over now. Probably for you people, you'll have to invest every 3 years, every 5 years, some certification program to be on course of your career for a next 30 years. Coming back to the topic. So what is marketing? What is product? So can we go to the next slide? Yeah, acha, this I can use now. Yeah. It's changing. Yeah, okay. Done. So the session will be like this. Okay, what is marketing? What is product? I will not be speaking. They have given me 30 minutes, but I will take 1 hour, ma'am. I'm sorry. Okay. I will not be speaking. All of you need to participate, right? That's why we have come here, no? Lecture, we can do it from the video itself. Right? What is marketing? Okay. So far, whatever you have learnt, Sheikh Trakya, he has presented, Dilip Boss also has presented a lot of things. There is a background to it. Whatever you see in the front, what you see advertisement, movement marketing, all this is a recorded version which is visible to all of you. There should be a background to this, no? Otherwise it will not be visible to you. Anybody can pick out what is happening by looking at the screen. You can say that, okay, you have to do so much of advertisement, you have to pick it up on 7th hour, in the night 10 o'clock, all that is fine. But what is the background to it? What is the strategy? Basically brand building, any top companies, if you look at it, it's not a product they are selling. What is it they are selling? It's a strategy which they are selling. It can be anything. Experience. It's a strategy which they are selling. What is that strategy which you wanted the product to carry? Example, whole strategic pillars, when you look at the anything, whatever so far we have spoken, you can split it into 4 models. One is a cost leadership model. What does it mean? How much low cost I am offering a product, right? Sachet revolution. Correct? Sachet revolution was an example of it. What has happened because of sachet? Volume driven mass marketing, correct? It's a mass market. Shampoos used to be sold in bottles. Penetration was what? 5-6%. Only the premium people used to use it. Now somebody thought, can I split this and make it available for everyone? That's a cost leadership strategy. Geo, example, what our Dilip Boss was selling, Geo is a cost leadership. They said, I'll give data free. When others were charging data, let me come and disrupt the market. I'll give data free. That is part of a cost leadership strategy. What is that? That's a powerful strategy. When you get into that, you are talking about en masse. You are not talking about 1 or 2 customers. You are talking about 140 crore of population. Can I target 80 crore population? That's when you are talking about cost leadership. I'll also give you examples. The second is what? Differentiation. Anything. I can be a cost differentiate. I can be a cost leadership player, or I will bring some differentiation. I don't want to do the same what used to happen. The picture I am showing you, example of oral care. Correct? Colgate is a leader. Now when close-up came in, they came in a gel format. Correct? When there is a Patanjali, Dankanti, when it was launched as a Ayurvedic. There is a differentiation. Like that, how do you differ your product proposition? This is the second very powerful agenda on marketing. Right? It's a strategy. It has nothing to do with, we can call it as sales, marketing, all that. It's a strategy of the company. How do they want to position themselves? And how do they create a vision for themselves and make it as a strategic pillars, correct? Second strategy was differentiation. What is the third strategy? Value addition. Can I add extra value to a consumer so that he will be sticking on to you permanently, right? One of the example is Mama Earth. People are sleeping again. Huh? I'm not going to read. Huh? Correct? It's there in the slide itself. Still, now you can read whatever is there in the slide. Next time onwards, I'll ask you to give a different answers. Okay? Good. So that's another strategy where we say, can I add extra value? Not only shampoo, not only skincare, can I extra value add to you? Is what Mama Earth came in. Like that, there are many examples I'll show you. Plenty of people will bring value addition. The fourth pillar is blue ocean. I don't even want to fight in a crowded place. Actually, Geo, we can also quote it as a part of, blue ocean. I don't want to get into the crowded market. It's a waste of time. I'll go and burn my money. No use to me. It's only the time we are wasting. So one of the critical example, quick commerce I'm showing now. Example, e-commerce, Blinkit, or for that matter, Blinkit is a leader in quick commerce now, right? Swiggy, Zomato, what they could have done? They could have come in the e-commerce and fought there, right? Obviously, e-commerce is growing. Who said e-commerce was not growing? Earlier, 1 year before, e-commerce was the only engine which was growing. Every company used to report, I grow by 40%, I grow by 60%. But today, they decided, I don't want to get into this crowded market. Let me come with the innovation. What is the innovation they brought in? Consumer needs are hidden. It is not that consumer doesn't know. We don't know it. See, from the day one, while Chetragna had told a different story, marketeers will not, you can't lie to consumer unless there is an underlying need for a consumer. Any product has to be successful, it has to win the consumer. You can do any gimmicks by showing advertisement continuously. There are many brands, we continuously bombard advertisement. Doesn't guarantee you that it is a success because consumer never wanted it. Right? Unless there is a need. Only difference is need is not visible. There are many needs which will be visible, which is obvious, right? Yeah, everybody knows that if I have to come to office on time, I need a cab to be booked. Much faster I can reach rather than a bus. This is very obvious need. Obvious need when you launch, you can never be successful. That's not a blue ocean strategy. Obvious, everybody knows here. So, so far, like you, there are 1 lakh companies with so much of money available, anybody can invest. Example of you ask Vodafone Idea, obvious needs everybody knows. But who is going beyond that and understanding the need which is not there in the consumer mind now, but internally he is feeling that. That's where the hidden needs. That is what quick commerce has identified. Before quick commerce, everybody was happy with, 1 day delivery, 2 day delivery. True or not true? I am not getting this, yeah. This is not right. We are making it live, right? Correct, no? We never wanted it. But now quick commerce have launched everything in 5 minutes. You won't believe, my first quick commerce incident was my son, who is in 2nd standard now. He wanted some printout at night 9 o'clock. Seriously, we never installed Blinkit till that time. Suddenly, he said, I need a printout. I said, okay, yaar, I'll get you tomorrow or day after, whenever I go out. No, you don't need to go, pa. He downloaded Blinkit app and immediately ordered. To my surprise, 50 minutes, the printout has come. I never thought printout was available there. So fast, which was a hidden need. Now every order for us goes through only Blinkit. And every order is a 5-minute delivery or 10-minute delivery order. See the change. It's a hidden need. That's what this blue ocean is all about. Blue ocean is not what is there, which I am going to fight. I'll unearth something which is an inner need. Nobody knows that. I'll be the first person to go and get it delivered. Clear? Anything you can fit into these 4 pillars and look at it where it is going to fit. Okay? And what would be your strategy or what would be you do it. See, I am not giving this lecture for you to become a employee like us. You have to start up. India is growing faster. See, those days we never had an opportunity. If you ask me, when I completed my Dilip, me and all, he will used to say, so much of hard work we do. Morning to night, we'll be in office. He will be the first person to come to office. 8 o'clock, he was my super boss, actually, not even boss, super boss. When I go to office by 8:30, he will be sitting at 8:15. And I'll leave by 9:30, he will leave by 9:45. So much of hard work we used to do. Those days, there's no option for us. The same effort, if we would have put in our own business, no, life would have been totally different. But that time, that opportunity was not there for us. Today, you guys are having that power. Those days, to create a brand, you need deep pockets. Why? Predominantly, it used to be a cost leadership, mass market, TV, correct? Is the only way you can reach. TV, 5 seconds cost. Blocking a key, slot of 20 days will be 1.5 crore per state. Now, will you have a deep pocket to invest? That time, no. Now, today, nothing is required like that. You have a digital, you have Insta, you yourself can create content and start posting it. People will, so much of personalization, which is currently happening. That's the advantage for all of you. Think about all this whenever you go through any studies, group studies or any cases, it will fit into all the 4. Let me move on to the first one, which I talked about, cost leadership. It's a mass market concept. So you will be penetrating to multiple people. That means you have to give it at a best price. So it's not easy. I'm correct. Dilip boss has given an answer. No, actually it is not easy to produce en masse unless you communicate large scale and make it really big. For that, communication is important. Without that, nothing can survive. Unless I show that my product is cheap, one of the best thing is it's not easy for others to come and then immediately destroy you, because you have to invest and it's a long term investment which you do, and hence it is committed. You cannot pull back that money. That's the way it's a large scale operations. That's a cost leadership. There, you definitely need to have S&D playing a critical role. When you enter mass market, which is most of the FMCG companies, into marketing. When they do a mass marketing, very important thing is sales. So when you gave me the objective of sales as a strategy for marketing, actually for FMCG, it sales only decides. Ultimately, money comes from where? The consumer who is buying, whether it is remote, rural or urban, the money has to be collected, correct? That's when you book the profit. So that's the reason why in FMCG, both sales and more than marketing, S&D plays a critical role of making it available. So if you choose that strategy, you'll have to go in that direction of getting into every place, making sure your product is available everywhere, and hence you'll have to make it en masse. Clear? Sleeping, yeah. Not all right. Can you all stand up for 1 minute? Only the students. Only the student. Please get up. Pat the near person back and then say well done. Because you guys are studying in Swami's Institute. They are very lucky for that. Okay. Good. Wake them up. Wake them up. We are not hearing the noise. Well done for being Swami students. Right? Please. Please sit. Yeah. Please sit. So where were we? Someone has to tell me now. Costing is what we have spoke. Cost leadership. Sales driven. Okay, good. So that's about the entire thing in terms of making it available on cost leadership. Should we move on to the second? Differentiation. Think of what of the differentiation can be possible. Second strategy is all about product differentiation, right? Think about it. What are the differentiation are possible? Package difference. Okay. Packaging is one difference. Very good. What are the other differences? Good. Packaging is one difference. Then price is cost leadership. Price we are moved out now, right? What are the features? Example? Organic. Okay. Very good. Vegan. Very good. Ayurvedic. Yeah. Flavors. Okay. Size. colors. Okay, let's see what are the, difference. What are the differences? One is ingredient, right? You make products and people talk about certain ingredients, right? When Junior Horlicks was launched for the first time, everybody had DHA. For your information, I was working in Horlicks first. Everybody had a DHA in the product, but nobody marketed it. First company to market was DHA is available. It's a junior Horlicks. That's when we started saying it will develop your brain, which was already there in most of the products. But you started telling that. That's an ingredient strategy, right? We have a Mira onion. So you won't believe, in Andhra, wherever you all are sitting, HUL is the largest player in the country. He is a market leader. But the place Andhra on hair care. When I say hair care, Clinic Plus, Sunsilk, Dove, wait, HUL ka what are the shampoos? Clinic Plus, Dove, Sunsilk, Trust Me, HUL. Okay. These 5 brands HUL has. What are the brands CavinKare has? Chick, Mira, Kartika, Nile. Okay. Together if you combine CavinKare versus HUL, CavinKare is a leader in Andhra. So that's the strength of we can beat HUL also, provided you identify right ingredient which can support the local consumers. Mira onion, to the surprise, head and shoulder is been the leaders in anti-dandruff for many years. We have beaten them in entire South. South, our leadership, we have gained from 0 to 12% market share in 5 years time. How it is possible? Because the ingredient of small onion, which has gone into every consumer mind. Today, if you walk into any place in Tamil Nadu or anywhere, people don't call it as Mira shampoo. They will all call it as small onion shampoo, please give me. That's all. That's a powerful message. When you go and stand next to the consumer. Absolutely. Exactly. So ingredient plays that's a differentiation. You can bring in any ingredient as a differentiation. So give me some other example of ingredient. One Mira I have told now. Correct. Okay. Amla. Okay. The hair oil. Understood. You don't need to think only hair care. Then see why I am showing all FMCG. Why I am showing all FMCG product is that, okay, you should know that even within the same categories you can play multiple way. Generally people relate one to the other one, they will go into the service sector. We don't want to, I just wanted to tell you it's possible. The second one you see packaging. Somebody spoke about packaging, correct? What is that pack which I am displaying? Kinder Joy. First time when they launched, they did it with a different packaging. That has become the hit, right? Earlier, that confectionery category, nobody used to have a egg kind of a shape. They are the first people to come, and inside they provided a toy also, if you remember. That was a catch. So, packaging plays a very important role in terms of differentiation. What is the third differentiation? Benefit. All paste can be there. Sensodyne is a sensitive toothpaste, correct? So, to that extent, you can also play differentiation on a benefit which is offering, correct? And the fourth one is, what do you mean by experience here in Maggie? 2 minutes, correct? Everybody said 2 minutes, I'll be able to. Has anybody cracked within 2 minutes? You are able to make it? I tried here Saturday, Sundays, but I could not able to do it. But it's good. At least they made sure 2 minutes we can eat. Okay. But okay, possible. But 2 minutes is a very powerful, catchy one, right? So that's the experience they are giving. That's a differentiation. What is the technology differentiation? Chillet, correct? They didn't want to come into a regular model. They came with a new technology and then that made the difference. What is the other difference? Health and wellness. This I don't need to teach you. Sustainability is something which is new. In India, we normally don't look into this to the best possible extent, but in the Western world and all, these are all becoming a norm, new norm. They are making, Coke is making a bottle itself of plants. That's the way they are moving towards, right? So soon in India also will catch up. Vegan, somebody spoke. Yeah, these are some of the differentiation you can bring in your product. First was a cost leadership, correct? Second strategy is a differentiation. Now you understood, no, whatever they have presented, based on you, what you want to create as a strategy, all your communications, all your medium, the way, the personas, all that will be to address your strategy and what is that you wanted to communicate to the consumer. Clear? Shall we move on? What is the next one? Value addition. Tells a story. Tesla story. What is the Tesla story? Electric car. First he started making a car which is a racer car, and he made a statement that with this money I will make a popular car, and then the electric car. That's how the evolution happened. Look at how they engage the consumer. Most of us, when we have cars, I remember I was having a Nissan Terrano. We were traveling in from Jaipur to Agra sometime, some 5 years, 6 years before. When I was traveling in the car, it got, broke down. No service was available. It took 21 days for me to recover that car. We left it in the in one of the petrol bunk, and then we took another car, and then we came back. The after sales service and the entire portion of customer satisfaction. Today, if somebody is asking me to buy Nissan, definitely I will not buy. Look at Tesla, how they are doing it. They will give you don't need to even come to a garage. They will do a technology upgrade on the go. So much of advanced things is what they are doing as a value addition to the consumer. So that makes the difference for them. What is the second one? Personalization, which is very, very important when you want to get into a value addition in terms of consumers. All this will be not a mass category. You cannot find all this in a mass category. Can I personalize for each and every one here and create a shampoo? Is it possible? Definitely not possible, at least now. Probably as the world evolves, you don't know how it will change. But as of now, it is not possible. But largely, it is a personalization, how you personalize them. Britannia also made a campaign. Yeah, Britannia made a campaign on printing your photos on their biscuits and all. If you remember, that's a campaign, that's a personalization they ran. Right? This is very, very important as a value addition. How can I personalize them? Starbucks, what do they do? Correct. Your photos also can come. They will capture the photo and that can also be embossed, right? That's a personalization which they started. Like that, what are the other examples for personalization? Class, correct. Classwork notebook, correct. Absolutely. Personalized. Very good. Spotify, correct. One more example I was just thinking. Okay, good. That's what she was saying. Good. So those are the personalization which even when OnePlus came to India, it didn't launch it en masse. What they did was they actually given it only for a limited consumer. I think you are one of the consumer. I remember was that you got that mail and it's a personalized one, which is not common for anyone. In Vodafone office, only he got that. All of us. So you look at how they launched the product with so much of personalization. Once you are the only person receiving it, will you say no? Especially a good product, no way possible. So that's how they started their journey, right? Personalization is very, very important. Then community building. How do I build various community around me? Amazon as a guy, when you launch in, or even from the portal, Amazon Prime, when they do it, it's a community they are trying to build it across, correct? That's another value addition which they can give. The last one is the storytelling. Airbnb, what is the story of Airbnb? How it started? How it started? What is the story of Airbnb when it started? Correct. So the startup, the owner himself, so they were actually it started. They were starting up some other business. They were cash crunch that time. They said, can I actually give the hall itself for somebody to start using it? That's how they started it. And they rented their own house where they are staying, one portion of the house. They started making money. That's how the entire story of Airbnb started. And slowly that has become a model where you can share, you will get an experience of you going and sharing with your family. Correct? That's the story of, storytelling of Airbnb to make you as a part of consumer who can come to their home and stay with them and be with them. Correct? were full. Yeah, correct.
So they came up with this platform that everyone who has a
Correct. You can give that. That's a launch. Absolutely right. Correct. Absolutely right. Correct. That's a then coming to blue ocean. What is the blue ocean strategy we said? Completely new. Correct. It was not existent at all. So hidden need. You see the first one, the value innovation. Correct. Mama Earth came when Mama Earth launched. None of us believed that around 800 rupees product they can sell. Correct. Each and every outlet when I walk in here, I was traveling across Delhi and all those places. I realized Instagram is the advertisement. People come and ask for it. Every promoter will say that, people normally walk in with the Instagram logo, the photos and the campaign, whatever they run, they ask for certain products, which are unique proposition and which is a blue ocean, which is what they did it, right? What is the second one? Redefining industry. How did Samsung redefine the industry? Yeah, large screen is one. On AC, if you look at it, it was a window AC. 90% of 95% of the market was sold with a window AC. They took a call of completely moving away and launched something called a split AC, which was never existed. And the more and more you spend time on window AC, it's becoming too competitive to operate. Your margins are getting eroded. There is a fight. Obviously, is a multinational in India versus any Indian local player can give a better discounting because of various other propositions. So the prices were keep on coming down. Then they decided, despite 95% of the market was only window AC that time, they are the first people to come and launch, and this will go with a split AC. That's called redefining the industry. Jio also did it. Same example we can quote it for Jio, where when they came, they redefined the industry. We all were thinking that only 75, 150 full talk time is good enough. He came and said, no, 699 I can charge the consumer. Correct? That's the redefining industry. Last one is the consumer pain. Blue ocean, these are the 4 legs on which blue ocean can be generated. You all remember your taxis days, auto days, when Ola and Uber are not available. Now it is painful. You have to find something new. Correct. Absolutely. That's a new pain, ma'am. You will get an answer later after 2 years. Probably the old pain. What was the pain? Nothing was available. No, he chooses whether to board you or not. That was the scenario. No, but not possible. Even if they want, the charging used to be bomb. Nobody can predict what is the charge he will make by looking at different people. In Tamil Nadu, if I stand, I can bargain because I understand Tamil. If I come here, Telugula மாத்தாடுறது ரொம்ப கஷ்டம். So what will happen? Automatically, people will say that okay, charge him more. Correct. This is how it was. Now at least that's a consumer pain we went through. There is a solution. When Ola Uber launched it, it was a delight. Both the way got benefited. The auto driver also got upgraded. At the same time, consumer also got benefited. This is another blue ocean strategy where you are expanding the market, which is not existing now. Correct? All are clear? What are the 3 things? 4 things we have spoken. 1, past leadership. Very good. Fantastic. So let's do some work now. Okay. Let's understand this persona. Okay, now we are not going to, I am not going to speak. All of you have to prepare and then talk about it. Assume these are 3 personas are there. One gentleman who is slightly older. The last one can be me, young and thing. Second is a different person. Okay, there are 3 people in this. Let's look at them and what are their problem statement. Is what? Look at the first person. Meet that person. Can somebody read it? Anyone? Volunteer? Or all of you can go through it. One of you. See, I'll pick out the people who are sleeping. Madam, stand up now. You read it. Yeah, you can read it. The second one would be you, madam. Huh? You have to be ready. Yeah. Yes. That's why I'm standing here. I'll not allow it to happen.
Meet Priya.
So we have also studied and come now, ma'am. We know what happens in the back benches. Yeah.
Name Priya Sharma, age 32 years, location Bangalore, India, profession software engineer, family married, mother of 3-year-old daughter. Lifestyle and preferences. Um, Prioritize healthy, organic, and chemical free products.
Okay,
Shop.
ma'am is saying time up, so you can say 2 minutes. Will close. Thanks, madam. Thanks. So you can go through this. You got it right. Who is this personality, and what are the persona which we are talking about? Which are the places they browse? What are the activity they do? Is the first one which you are looking at it. There is a thanks, madam. What is her name? Thanks for that. The second one, Raj, is the second personality. You can look at his persona. Totally a different guy. Lives in Mumbai, correct? And then he has a limited time. He doesn't do online shopping. He will be going to an outlet, modern trade outlet kind of a scenario where he is looking at something there, right? Clear? The third personality is a very simple man. He is saying, I am a very junior engineer and I am happy to go to nearby Kirana shop and all and browse. This is how the consumer personification will happen, right? Once you identify the consumer, what are his characters around it? These are some of the very visible thing I have put it across. Plenty of hidden stuffs also which will be available for us to make a decision, right? So once you do that, what will be the product and what is the consumer buying process? Once you identify your consumer, once the strategy is ready, then you will have to make a consumer. Who is the consumer whom you are going to sell? Read the consumer well. Then the next is how is his progress? What is the buying process for him? First of all, you will say problem I have to recognize. The consumer has to identify the problem. For this only, we will have to ignite them. That this is your problem. So for that, you have to communicate. Without that, you will not realize this problem itself, right? So that's a problem recognition stage. Then you will start for searching. Which are the places you will search? Then you will move on to alternates. Which are the alternates is available for him to pick up? And finally comes to a purchase decision. Post purchase is very, very important. Once you buy, see, till the time communication can take you. Purchase happens only when it is available, correct? So availability is a sales job. Tell me if rest all the things are there, availability is not there, what will happen? You will not make revenue at all. So without sales, nothing functions, okay? Just to give you a sales perspective, so that you should not, sales is the most important function in the entire organization because it generates revenue to the company, right? Rest all anybody can give a jam, correct? But that is something which you have to exactly take it. Absolutely. Then post purchase behavior is very, very important. When he realizes the product, is he satisfied? That's a very, very important concept. Unless he gets satisfied, he is not going to repeat it, right? So that's about it. So he can go to supermarket, he can go to Kirana shop. These are the various channels which are there in India. I'll show you one quick picture. See, look at India. India is not that simple, right? In other places, example, US, you are there. It's not sales dependent. Why? Walmart, Carrefour, 5 players along with Amazon dominates 90% of the sale happening there. If you are not in Walmart, you are 40% of the market, you are not even present. That's how the situation there, like that. So it is organized retail and largely marketing driven. Where their availability, anyway, the retail himself will provide. It's a largely driven by marketing. In India, it is completely opposite. Why? Look at India. This is the old population. Okay, this is what is the census population, what you have. 123 crore population. Now it is 140. This was 2011. That's what is declared by the government as of now. 123 crore. Where are they sitting? Look at it here. 40% are sitting in 1K to 5K population villages. Less than 1K, 12% are sitting. Around 52% of the population is sitting where? It is all in villages. Less than 5K. Imagine less than 5K, how small it is. All of you, how many of you come from villages here? Nobody. The only 2-3 only, okay, correct. So this entire population is sitting here. What is metro for us? 5 lakh plus town. How many? What is the population? So if you penetrate only through mass media, only through marketing, only through a channel which is like, digital, modern trade, all that, you will be penetrating only to 25% of the market. But there the consumption is high. I'm not coming there. If you go back to the slide, so metro contributes 40% of the revenue to the industry. 40% revenue comes from 20% of the people, while all the others are underpenetrated. How do you reach them is what is S&D role is. That's what when Dilip was taking us through, he spoke about the GTM of perfidy, right? How closer to the market, sales makes maximum marketing rather than marketing makes the sales. That's how India is positioned as you see the pyramid. Clear? That's it. I'm ending the session so that, okay. So I don't want to bore anymore. Good? Good. Very nice. Nice catching up with all of you. Any questions are there, you can ask. Thanks to Swami for this opportunity. Yeah.
Saram sir,
Yes, madam.
one question. First of all, I connected to it very much when you said about FMCG and all. So my family business, my father is a distributor, so I really connect a lot for that. Sir, but e-commerce and quick commerce now it's dominating and ruling all over. Then do you
That's
really think it's a threat to the small distributor? How the future is gonna be? Now my father, whenever I call him, he says no sales are happening. As it's a small town, even then.
See, change is inevitable, right? But I'll tell you the story. Modern trade. I was in HUL. When I started HUL, I joined modern trade. That time, 99% of the sale used to be GT. First time modern trade got opened up. Big Bazaar. You remember those days? Big Bazaar used to be the largest player, right? Today, where is Big Bazaar? Now DMart is the biggest player. So only thing is modern trade sale even today, after almost like 10, 12 years now, 15 years in the industry, modern trade from the start to now, 18% contribution only comes. As I was showing, see India is so diversified, no one channel can cater every need. One. Second, Dilip was talking about every same house, 5 consumers are emerging now. Everybody is in different plane, yaar. Example, I never knew Blinkit. Okay, while we sell to Blinkit, that's a different story. I never knew in the sense I never used Blinkit, correct? But who started Blinkit in my home? 2-year-old son, correct? It's evolving. Now, for a Kirana store to be surviving this wind, how earlier days, I'll go back to the old theory, modern trade, when modern trade happened, what has happened to Annaji shops those days? You ask your father, he will give you an answer. Everybody converted them into a departmental store. Earlier, it used to be a gunny bags, it used to be there in the front. Nobody is allowed to enter the store. They opened. Who opened? I was in Unilever that time. Unilever only, HUL deployed a program called SVS store, Super Value store. We upgraded all of them to a departmental store concept so that they also survive. Even today, they also survive. Only thing is they have to change, adapt. Yes, boss, please.
Vegetables. Used to go to vegetable market center. Today vegetables are available in Kirana shop. Milk. There's a milk vendor, whom you go and buy. Today milk is available in Kirana.
Reliance Smart.
No, those are bigger examples, man. I'm talking about
Very Kirana, absolutely.
Today Kirana is the kind of product range that you carry. And the beauty is they don't carry large, when you go to vegetable market, visualize when you are small kid, when you are going to Kirana, vegetable market, keep sending vegetables, every seller used to sell. Today, your father gets very little, 5 kgs of tomato, 2 kgs of onion, every day he gets it, he makes money out of it. So it is about how much I am getting. See, having a Kirana store is one, but if he is my customer, how much of his wallet share I'm taking? When he's coming to your store, the neighboring people are coming, how much of his requirement, your father also need to study, make a study, understanding what are the requirements in that particular community that they are staying, and try and ensure that you have a range, but not in terms of quantity, but in terms of range, right? That, and there will be some products where the margins are high, right? And those products have to be displayed in the front, right? Sai company doesn't give you great margin to your father. They give only 10% margin. But there will be companies where the margin will be 30-40%. margins. So your father should focus while he will keep CavinKare Hindustan Liver. But if there is a company which is giving him 25%, 30% market share, he should push it. So every entrepreneur by himself has to be how to capitalize on the investment, the ROI that we have been talking about.
Absolutely.
Everything,
Yeah, everything.
that
Absolutely.
we started
Long time back. Yeah.
20 years.
Yeah.
Part of your project.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's do
No,
that.
I think it's a good study, good learning how to maximize the ROI of a small retailer. And there are many ways. The number of how many times, I don't know, you have seen when you go to colony, especially in the upcoming area, please be observant of what you're saying. The retailer also is helping people to buy houses, sell houses, and even rent houses. So in that area, he is the real estate person and he makes money. One house he sells, he makes your father can make if there is properties which are getting sold, real estate is happening. If you get into that while he's doing this, because they have a lot of free time, right? They can also do real estate, they can also do a lot of this, even get ordering on behalf of people on Amazon and keeping small share of profits. So there are a lot of innovative ways to make money.
Absolutely.
Yeah, thank you.
Nothing will die. Don't worry. Huh? So you have to
Only thing
upgrade.
is we have to
digital
innovate.
store. You can make it as
You
a
have to
digital-
innovate how to
How to
be
innovate.
relevant in the market.
Reinvent yourself. Good. Thank you, Alga.
Sorry, I'm not able to attend you. Thank you. Nice talking to all of you.
Thank you, sir. You are a testimony to the fact that tallest trees are those with deepest roots. Strategy, dreams, sales make it real. Thank you for practical wisdom making sales and strategy the guiding light. Thank you, sir, for personalizing the session. Now, I would like to call upon Professor C. N. Shetagna to present a token of gratitude to Mr. Sai Venkatraman. In the digital age, brand success is about crafting seamless experiences that engage, convert, and build lasting relationships. These words resonate deeply with the work of our esteemed speaker today, Ms. Maheima Kapoor. A distinguished leader in digital transformation and marketing, she brings over 18 years of expertise in driving strategic innovation, optimizing customer experiences, and building future-ready brands. Ms. Kapur has an impressive career spanning both startups and established global brands including Unilever, Tata Global Beverages, and Britannia. As an independent consultant, she specializes in marketing and product transformation, helping businesses enhance their digital presence and achieve data-driven success. One of the notable achievements includes redesigning the D2C website for rice nicotine gums, leading to a 15x increase in online conversions and a 4.5x increase in user engagement time. Her expertise extends across consumer insights, UI/UX design, content strategy, SEO, and brand development. She has been recognized as a winner of the Elevate program by the government of Karnataka, a Google Launchpad Women in Tech Awardee, and a NASCOM 10K Startups Program incubatee. What makes today even more special is that Ms. Kapur is an alumna of our very own institute. She is a testament to the values and excellence our institution nurtures, and we are incredibly proud to welcome her back. Today, she will be sharing her insights on digital transformation in marketing, navigating challenge, and driving innovation. In a rapidly evolving digital landscape, the session will provide valuable perspectives on leveraging technology and adapting to change. Whether you aspire to work in marketing, product strategy, or digital transformation, this session will equip you with the knowledge and inspiration to adapt, innovate in the industry. With great excitement, let's welcome Ms. Maheima Kapoor to share her invaluable insights with us. Ms. Maheima Kapoor.
So, offering my loving and humble pranams at Bhagwan's lotus feet, and a huge amount of gratitude to both him and Professor Sai for identifying that I could be here today, which has meant that I am back on campus 23 years after I graduated, which I'm so delighted about, right? And Ranganathan and I were discussing why I didn't come back earlier, but I'm guessing many things would have ensured that I couldn't travel back all the way. But it's really such a beautiful day for me to be back here on campus. So thank you for that. I think we've heard a lot, and I'm going to watch out for all the sleepers because I have been one when I was here. So we heard a lot about marketing, and I think we've had many different perspectives. But if I were to sort of, converge, marketing for me is a mix of heart and brain. Yeah. So heart is really the part which is about understanding the consumer really well. It's the part about sort of really getting to know their need, as science was saying. We've heard about how we communicate. All of that is heart, right? But there's a huge brain part of it, which is really how we look at what is happening, how we think through the strategy, how we actually execute it, how we then follow it up to look at the data and see what's working, what's not, right? And we go back and we again sort of do the entire process again and again, looking at the data and going over it again. So what I'm going to focus on today is mostly the brain and not so much the heart. And I'm really glad that a lot of the speakers before me have done an excellent job of talking about the heart part of it, right? There will be pieces that I will bring in where we will talk about how communication makes a difference and how content can be leveraged in the right way. But a large part of it otherwise is going to be about introducing you in a very practical way to what digital marketing is and how it sort of, actually is applied to brands through sort of the work that I have done and other examples that I'll pull out. Yeah, so let's get started. We've heard about this. Well, actually, I would love the... Yeah, am I audible? Awesome. Let's go. Yeah. So the digital explosion in India. I wanted to go back to, and I guess that fortunately for you, campus might have offered a different experience. But go back to the times when you've been outside and think and tell me, have you ever found anyone sitting and staring, doing nothing? You have? Okay, well, a lot of people, however, are on their smartphones. How many of you have seen that? That right from parents who are busy watching WhatsApp videos and running the WhatsApp university by forwarding all those videos, to the students who are spending all their time on social media, largely, right? Putting up Insta reels, creating them somewhere, and then, making sure they're posted and then checking every 30 seconds how many likes that has got. To professionals like me who have our emails running, who have Blinkit and Swiggy Instamart running, so all our ordering is happening, who have Amazon, Big Basket running. So every single thing is on the app, on the phone, right? And it's really, it sort of goes across socioeconomic status, because when you find even house help and people like guards, they're all sitting and doing their job, but they're constantly watching YouTube shorts, right? So Indian spend, and for what I think is actually the lower number, it's the averaged out number, right? If you were to go back and look at people around you, you'll probably find this number is closer to 7. And that is freakily scary, because that means we're messing with our brains if we're on the phone that much, but that's for another time, right? So are we even offline anymore? How does the data really stack up? There are 800 million users in India that are online today. That number is obviously growing, and that's good, because data means, sort of the penetration of the internet means that a lot more people now have access to the same data that only a few had in the past. 78% of them are coming online through their mobile, which again sort of, democratizes the fact that you don't need a laptop, you don't need a desktop, you just need a phone and you're at least online, which is great again. This is the number that's worrying. I'm also a therapist on the side, so this number worries me when I put on my therapist hat, but as a marketer, it's awesome, right? Because it means that I can reach people more and more easily, but because they're online so much, it's that much more difficult to get their attention, and that makes it tougher. So it's a very interesting problem to have. At one level, 800 million people, you can somehow figure out how to reach them, but are you going to get the attention that you want when you want to sell them something, right? So that's the problem. Some fun facts: India is the biggest consumer of YouTube content globally. What does that mean? Interestingly, if there are YouTubers outside the country, they want to create content that will go viral in India. Because guess what? We have 800 million users. And if those users are sharing content and watching it, they will come to the top of the YouTube rankings, even if they don't really want to create content for India, right? And WhatsApp is our national communication service. I think that's true. That's true for all of us. I'm on WhatsApp all the time as well, right? So just to sort of summarize, the largest portion of what we do online is online video, which would be primarily YouTube and WhatsApp. Like I said, my father at 6 in the morning, after his Suprabhatam is done, is watching videos on WhatsApp, and no amount of, nudging him has changed that habit. But that's just how we are sort of becoming in the way we consume information, right? Then you've got social media, you've got email and online services, entertainment, which is all of Netflix. So people are binge watching Netflix 4 hours in a row after a day of work, right? That's the kind of penetration we have. And Netflix is only one example. India has many more OTT platforms that actually do much better, right? You've got MX Player, you've got Z5. And then, of course, there's gaming, there's news sites, there's retail, travel, all of that. And hence, we do need to reach them online. However much, unless the brand is focused in a way that it does not want to necessarily reach these 800 million, we'll have to figure out how we want to reach them online. And hence, this is really the landscape of digital marketing. It's a heavy slide, and I'm going to talk you through it. But it's really a lot of different components that come together to create what is called digital marketing. The first one is the website or the landing page. And the reason I start with that is that in the digital world, that's your product, right? That's, so even if you're selling a physical product, you need to bring them to a website. That website is the one that needs to talk to them. That website is where they figure out what is this product about, why should I buy it? And that's the first element you need to create. And you need to create it well if you're doing digital marketing. And this website also takes different shapes, right? The website could take the shape of a chatbot. If your consumers want a certain amount of interaction and they want to, be talking to someone, they don't want to look at things, they don't want to call up and speak to anybody, then you put together a chatbot for them. If you're running a paid advertising campaign, so you're running a campaign on Google or on Meta, you need a landing page. And in the way marketers do it, it's a single landing page. You cannot click through to any links on a paid marketing landing page, because if you allow them to click through, their attention is going to go somewhere else and they're not going to click on the buy now button that you have there, right? So that's the power of your website or landing page, and the need to get that right. And that in itself encompasses a couple of other sort of sub-concepts, if I may, right? That's one is the click-through rate optimization. So your conversion rate optimization, it's called CRO. How do you ensure that someone who's landing on the website is actually clicking and buying the product and is not struggling and figuring out, oh, where is the button? What else information do I need? Is that buried somewhere? Do I need to go somewhere? How do you make that process super clean for them? And then content marketing, which we'll talk more about. But what is the content you create on the page for them to really, grab their attention, relate to them, and all of that sort of goes back to the hard part, which I said we will talk less of in this conversation. But you have to know your consumer really well to be able to translate that into effective assets online, right? The next is search engine optimization. This is a field by itself. It's quite vast and deep. There's a huge question around how relevant it is given ChatGPT, but for the moment, it still is, people search online and you have results. So when you search on Google, I don't know if you've noticed, some things come up and say sponsored. How many of you have seen that? Those are the ones that are responses to advertisements that people have put out. And below the sponsored, you will find a whole list of other stuff. That's organic content. And that's not coming up there just by luck, right? Google doesn't decide who they want, which website should show up today. It's not like that. That website has done its homework of making sure that it's, all its content is structured in a certain way for it to show up first on Google. And there's a lot of subcomponents of this, but this has immense power because this means that you can get your content out right in front of the user in the first line without spending any money, if you get this right? So sponsored ads are money, they're paid, you have to put money behind them. This is free. As an example, when I was at Design Cafe, so Design Cafe is a startup. Have you heard of LiveSpace, Homelane, anybody? Yeah? Design Cafe is a third player in that industry, right? And I was heading sales and marketing for them. At Design Cafe, when we started out, we said we have to crack the organic part of it. Organic is SEO. Business from organic moved from 5% of overall sales coming from organic to 18% over a 12-month period, 12 to 18-month period, right? That meant that much less expenditure on paid advertising, which was my primary source of leads otherwise. So that's the power of organic and why we need to be mindful of how we are getting our SEO right. The third one is paid advertising, and this is too vast to go into in this conversation, but the three big pillars, and there are many multiple other pillars. You've got Google, which is like you saw the searches that come up or the display ads that come up. Sometimes, like I think we've all seen, we'll talk about the small ones. So if you talk about travel, or maybe you do one flight search going to somewhere, instantly wherever you go on Google, you will find those same display ads. That's called the Google Display Network, GDN, and that comes up because Google's listening, right? It's watching what you've searched, it's watching which website you've gone on, which is why a lot of people don't want to use Google Chrome as a browser. Because you want to do it in incognito. Because the moment you use something, they know what you're looking for, they're going to market that back to you, right? Meta has actually changed the game. So Meta is Instagram and Facebook and WhatsApp now. They don't allow a lot of direct advertising on WhatsApp. So WhatsApp's very controlled in the amount of advertising you can do. But Instagram allows you to advertise all the time. And a lot of brands put, small homegrown brands. And the beauty of it is that really, if you look at it, small brands starting out of a small town in India will just create a handle and an Insta campaign, and suddenly they're getting leads and they're getting sales, right? So that's beautiful, because that's again democratizing something which maybe larger organizations have easy, and now giving that power to people who are, who don't know more than just the product that they've created, and an ability to create a story around them. And when they put that story out on platforms like Facebook and Instagram, they get people signing up and buying. And then you've got YouTube, of course, which is a little more complex from a ad creation, etc. perspective. But again, penetration numbers in India means it's a good platform to use. The next sort of aspect of digital is social media marketing. And here I'm going to go back to an example from my startup. So I ran a startup called Talking Street. It was a startup in the space of food, and we were trying to ensure that information about food in every city in India was actually available online. And so, otherwise, how would we find out? We find a friend. So if I was coming to Anantapur, I would call one of my teachers or someone and say, hey, where can I go eat, right? But yes, if you are in a city where you don't know somebody, then if you have that information available online, it becomes that much easier. It was a startup. There wasn't much money. So we actually started creating a lot of great content around what to eat in which city and where. And there were volunteers across. We managed to get to 3.5 lakh followers on Facebook, all organic, zero money. And at that time, this is 2018, when Insta was just becoming big, we had 45,000 followers on Insta. Because you're providing value, right? So you're creating the right kind of content, you're curating this list for these different cities, and you're putting it out. One single list for Delhi had 1.5 lakh shares. So that's the power of the right content pushed out in the right way. Affiliate marketing is an interesting smaller space, but it's really great for lead gen. So here you find companies who will actually help you create leads for your business. And it's great again for generating leads when your business is largely online. Thank you. It's largely online and you want to get leads online. And I'm going to take you through a deeper example on that. And the final one is marketing automation, where you can actually set up your entire system for the customer life cycle to say, okay, now when you are looking at my ad, sorry, one second. When you look at my ad, and maybe you click and say you sign up for a newsletter, I will send you one message. Then I will nudge you to come back 5 days later. If you come back and buy my product, I will send you another message. Then I will nudge you to refer it to your friends. So I set up this entire thing as an automation. I don't have to do it manually every time. Sorry. Something just stuck, I think. Just something stuck. I think that's good. Thank you. Sorry, yeah. Right. And now this whole automation piece, it works really beautifully on WhatsApp for India, not so much on email because we don't see emails, right? Has any of you actually ever seen this as a concept? Yeah? Can someone walk me through the stages quickly? Quickly, anyone? 30 seconds. Yeah. Hmm.
And when he generates that interest, he his mind will be like, I'm going to buy this product, but he'll see more on social platforms, and then he'll browse. Decision में he'll be like, okay, this product is existing, and last step is action. When he finally like convinced that I want to buy this product, then he'll actually purchase the product and he'll be the consumer.
Thank you so much. That's very well explained, right? So yes, and this funnel, it takes many different shapes, right? Just as an example, the best way to explain funnels is unfortunately or fortunately glasses, right? So if there are funnels which look like champagne flutes, which means they are largely like this, and then, they're mostly stable. There are funnels which look like this and come like this. So expensive luxury products are your cocktail glasses. Lots of people looking at them, very few buying them, right? And then there are funnels, especially referral funnels, where somebody tells you, hey, this is really good. What does that look like? That looks like a glass that's like this. If 100 people tell their friends this is a great product, 80 of them will end up buying it. So as a business, what you want to build is a funnel that is like a referral funnel. But I'm going to actually explain this to you. Oops, sorry. With Design Cafe, which was the organization I was at. I'm going to use, wow, that's some interesting effect also that I'm hoping is going to wake you up. But we look at it starting from the total addressable market, right? So that's actually a term in all digital businesses and most businesses. Actually, you start out with saying, what's the TAM? What's your total addressable market, right? And that market is usually fairly large. But then as a marketer, you actually say, that's not my entire market. So the example would be, let's say Design Cafe is a firm that does turnkey interiors in most of the metro cities, right? So what's the market? Everybody in the city can actually potentially go buy a house and create and do interiors for the house. But that's not the people who do it. There's a certain set of people who actually are in the market to buy a house or to get interiors. That becomes my target audience. And when I actually translate that target audience online, there are ways to figure out in Google Meta how to sense if somebody is looking for this kind of communication, information. And when you design it right, you ensure that you're hitting the right set of audience. So this is also very interesting. Your audience can't be too small and it can't be too wide. If it's too wide, you're wasting money. If it's too small, also you're wasting money, because all your online platforms are spending that much time trying to figure out who is the small, set of people they want to reach, right? So that also wastes money. From that target audience, we actually get to the lead. So the target audience, we run the ads for them. Some of them click through, some of them give you information, they give you their phone number, or they use a chat bot, or they find a way of sending you a message, but they become your leads. And in the case of Design Cafe, you don't want just somebody who's interested in getting their home interiors done. You want somebody who has a house that is ready for possession. Do you understand the concept of possession? It means the builders made the house and is going to give you the house, right? The house should be ready for possession in the next 3 months. Otherwise, they will give you the lead. You will call them 5 times. They will just keep saying, abhi aayenge, baad mein aayenge, kabhi aayenge. They will not come, right? Because it's not an urgent, important need for them, right? So that plus they must have the budget for it. So the budget could be as low as say 3 lakhs in the case of Design Cafe. But if someone is looking for something within 1 lakh, then that's not target audience and that's not the right lead, right? So you qualify a lead by either making sure that your chatbot data is telling you that, or your call center is making the call to figure out if they are qualified or not. So we actually had a call center setup who would do this lead to QL, is how I would call it, this conversion. And this works in many, many businesses. You take a lead, but the lead will have a mix of junk as well as relevant, and then you translate that, right? And then this was how many people, so it's called MS because it means meeting scheduled. How many people actually come to meet you? In a business like design, if they don't turn up to meet you, it's unlikely they're ever going to come into the experience center to meet you. So first is you schedule the meeting. There's a dropout of that as well. About 50-60% turn up. That's called meeting done. They turn up. And then about 14 to 18% of them actually sign up. So can you see how the funnel narrows? And how much you need to optimize at each stage to make sure that you're using the marketing money very efficiently. Ma'am, to your question, it is always a pull and push between finance and marketing, and I think that's the right way to be. Because if finance weren't as strict with marketing, marketing would be spending a lot more money. But you start becoming very, very careful with every marketing dollar because you want to make sure that this is as optimal. I'm going to go very fast with this. I'm going to pull this up, but basically the funnel, the other way of looking at it is TOFU, which is top of the funnel, MOFU, which is the evaluation. So the same IDA, A is top of the funnel, your D and I are middle of the funnel, and then your purchase, your actual final purchase or decision is bottom of the funnel. And the way you engage with the consumer at each stage is different because the information they need is different and what will convince them to move to the next stage is different, right? That brings me to a really, really critical aspect of all marketing today, but I feel much more of digital marketing. Your data is king, and you have to learn how to read it right because there are so many different sources. You need to pool all of that together and figure out what is the insight this data is giving you that is going to be actionable and how do you need to act on that, right? So at every funnel stage, how do you make data-driven decisions? So what I've done is I've sort of listed the metrics, and I know a lot of them are also acronyms, but I'll give you a broad idea of how this works. Also, with the same example. So at the target audience, and if you notice, I've removed TAM because TAM is not people I'm talking to, right? I'm talking only to my target audience, so that's the one that matters when I start looking at data. At the target audience level, I'm looking at impressions. I'm looking at the view-through rate if they are on YouTube. I'm looking at the click-through rate. When they see my ad, how often do they click through? I'm looking at the cost per click, right? The CPC, the traffic, the conversion rate. So, okay, so many people clicked and came in, but how many people actually bought the product? So the conversion rate and the cost per lead as well. Where is this data available? Google Analytics. A lot of it on Google Analytics. If it's an app marketing piece, then there are app analytics. There are platforms like Clarity, which is actually going to tell you how many people are seeing your page, how many people are scrolling, how many people are staying with just first part of the page, how many people are going down. So you are able to actually watch real-time usage of the website as well, right? So lots of very good data coming in there, and every piece is important because it helps stitch the whole story together for you. So like I was telling you, lead to qualified lead, when I took over the business, was 5%. And what does that mean? Yeah, but it means that I'm wasting 95% money because only 5% are coming through, are people I can actually genuinely talk to, right? Which is shocking because that's a lot of money down the drain. So the first point is to always optimize your top of the funnel. And in this case, it meant setting up a call center.
Traditional sense, that's what would have happened. I mean, if you say 3 ads are the ones which make a cut, but you don't know when they're going to watch the 3, so you are doing them 15 ads.
Which is why traditional marketing, calculating ROI on it is so difficult that most brands today will
spend is inevitable.
Not in digital, because you have this data. So you can actually go back and optimize, right? So when I saw the 5%, I said I can't let it be at 5%. 25 is still acceptable. So then that meant bringing in a call center, training them right to make sure that they were converting better. Also, of course, it meant a lot of work on the digital ads themselves to make sure that you are also targeting right and converting right. But I mean, the whole idea of digital is you make it more efficient. Yeah. So your funnel should not be this, because then you're wasting a lot of money here. Or the top of the funnel is more zero money kind of stuff, right? Like, which is like the example I gave from Talking Street. Those might be all. So when I mean, interestingly, actually converted that to business at some point. All these people were free for me. It didn't matter how much, because I put the content out, right? Then the conversion doesn't matter. But if you're doing paid advertising, then this doesn't look good. Yeah. So the other metrics you look at here is the cost per qualified lead. So you look at cost per lead at every stage, because that tells you how efficient your business is. And you look at junk. Why are people not qualifying? And that advises you on what is your marketing, not right with. Yeah. What is your targeting that is not happening correctly? And then you've got, so at the next level, now this is simple. At each level, you look at the percentage that's converting, you look at the cost, and of course, you go into the details of why it's not converting. So in this case, interestingly, this is the stage where it starts going offline, right? So I had the sales function as well, which meant I had the sales team. So I could sit with them and I made them mark out why is this conversion poor. And with that knowledge, then, you go back again and you say, okay, what is the training that sales needs to make sure that this conversion happens? So you need to stitch all the data back to say, okay, what is the action? And the action is often, it can often be offline. It doesn't have to be online. But you need to be looking at it in a way to say, okay, what is it that exactly needs to be done for this metric to be more favorable? Similar story with the next one. So this metric was 30% when we started. And to me, I said, if someone wants to come, why are only 30% people coming? This should be 75% ideally. We landed at 60, but at every point in the sales fund in the funnel, you have to ask why is the conversion not higher, and that will lead to a lot of interesting insights. And similarly, the market average is around 15 to 18, so well, that's fine if you're landing there, right? There are also, so these are other metrics. There's ROAS, return on ad spend, very, very important for D2C brands. So critical to look at. There's cart abandonment rate, again, for a D2C product brand, very critical. You have repeat purchase rate, which tells you your retention, how many people are really liking your product and coming back for it. If this is low, it means you're going to be looking for people all the time. Your spends are always going to be high. But if people are coming back and buying, that means that you've got something going, the product is working, right? And of course, the assumption in all of this is that the product is working. You've got CSAT, which is customer satisfaction, works better for services brands, and there's NPS, which Shruthi as well spoke about. And then you've got Google ratings, which also tells you what's really happening on ground, right? And yes, it's, the whole piece has been about creating digital experiences. And I'm just going to give you some examples for that. So this is the same design cafe example. What was the insight behind this? Actually, I'm going to step back and I'm going to ask you, what do you think is happening here? Anyone? I know the font isn't great, but anyone who's able to make out what really is happening as an experience? Yes. It's the insight is that half the people coming onto a website like this are looking for the budget. They want to understand how much is it going to cost me if I have to get one kitchen, 2 bedrooms, 1 TV unit made. That's what they want to know. And that's the insight that you build on, where you actually, like, there's a button which says get estimate. When you click on the estimate, it asks you if you have your floor plan, how many bedrooms is your house, do you plan to move in or rent out? If someone's renting it out, does it matter to them? No. But if they're moving in, they're willing to put in more money, right? And one of the other screens that comes on is the screen which tells you, okay, how many, obviously everyone has one kitchen, but how many TV units do you want? How many wardrobes do you want? Do you want a study table unit? So it takes all that information and it gives you 3 classes of what is the expense potentially going to be. If you do it as a, classic, simple, you do a slightly more expensive piece or you do a luxury piece, what does it look like? Anyone on Spotify? Anyone who's used Spotify? Have you seen your Wrapped? What do you think? What do you think the experience is there? Anyone stand up and tell me. Correct. And what's the insight behind that? Perfect. Exactly. So if you're going to give me data about me, I listen to 50,000 hours of Arijit Singh, right? I want to tell the world that I listen to 50,000 hours of Arijit Singh, right? So they baked what is called distribution into the product. You've got that, they give you all the insights about you, your favorite artists, top 5, these, how many hours have you listened to, what are your favorite songs, what genres, and then people took this and they pushed it all out all over. And that meant that people who were not on Spotify were also seeing Spotify as a product, right? And they actually got more users through that. One last example here, Zomato and Swiggy. Anyone actually experience these very interesting notifications they send all the time? Right? What do you think they're doing here? Yeah. They are basically, so, what are they doing? They're taking your data. You love biryani. I'm going to tell you, you please order that biryani. It's on 35% off. And guess what? Bundle the Coke in as well. Right? You like pizza and you ordered it the last time there was a cricket match on. So why don't you order it again tomorrow's Champions Trophy? Right? So they, in some senses, they contextualize it. In some senses, they just make it funny. They use a lot of interesting sort of hooks to get you to engage with that notification, click on it, and come back to the product. So even at the time of the day or on a day when you're not thinking of Swiggy and Zomato, a notification like this makes you click and go back to the product, and then you explore, and then you're like, "Arey, khana dekh rahe hain, to order kar hi dete hain," right? So that's how it ends up working. So just some pointers on how do you build a digital first brand experience. You have to be where your audience is, right? So if we're targeting, and I'm going to take my father's example, if you're targeting someone 65 plus, you need to be on WhatsApp, not on Instagram, right? Similarly, if you're targeting, say, another age group, even 40 plus Indians are very often not on Instagram. So you have to find where they are, what are they searching for, and then make sure you're present there. This is what I started with when I was talking about the website and the landing page. Your digital product experience is crucial. It has to be seamless. Your UX, it's called UX, the user experience has to be outstanding. Your UI has to appeal. It cannot be over cluttered. There's obviously a lot of stuff that needs to go in here. It needs to load quickly, and it has to offer some value to the customer. We've talked about this, but personalization in so many contexts, right? Swiggy, Zomato, Netflix, all your e-commerce apps, they do a brilliant job of personalization because they have the data, and all they've got to do is put an engine behind that to make sure that everything that's coming up is relevant to you, not generically, right? And finally, you've got to be consistent. So the brand has to talk the same language. It has to look the same at one level. It has to empathize in the same way. It has to connect in the same way to ensure that people remember it and stay with it. And I think we've done a great job of discussing that through the days. So I'm going to not go deeper into it. That's it. Any questions? Thank you.
Sarah ma'am, thank you so much for such an informative session. Ma'am, a few years ago, I used to hold an Instagram account where I used to sell a product which I used to make on by myself. But then what problem I faced was I could not hold customer for a longer time. Like I had customers from different part of the India, like from Bangalore I had, from my native place also I have many, but it was very difficult for me to hold the customers. So ma'am, how can I hold the customers and like be in touch with them through Instagram or through any online platform? I used to make ma'am earrings and everything on my own like that, and I used to sell jewelry.
So, you know, the best answer on that would come from the customer. Because I can tell you broadly, it might be because your range did not allow for them to come back, right? Maybe there was a fixed set of products you were making. Is that right? But everyone wants variety. Look at us, all of us are looking for acha bhi ye naya, abhi wo naya, right? So that's potentially, I think that's the answer. But the generic answer to that is you cannot stop being in touch with your customer. It's sort of like the ground rule in marketing. You know, when I was at Unilever, we had a rule that unless you did 100 hours of consumer work, you could not speak in a meeting. Which meant that everyone, of course, and I was on the brand side, so I had to definitely do my 100 hours, but everyone at one point, the organization had a mandate that everyone had to go into the field to speak to customers at least one day a month. Right? Because that's the audience you're creating your product for. So unless you're in touch with them, we're all living in some bubble of our own. At some point, we'll miss the bus on what they need. Right? And when we keep talking to them, you'll get those inputs back. And then you know, modify your product range. You might modify the way you talk to them, the marketing of it. So many insights will come from just conversations with customers. Always start marketing by spending time with customers. If the organization you join allows for it formally, excellent. If it doesn't, from your own network, find people who use that product and have detailed conversations with them. Yeah? Super. Anyone else? It's late in the day, maybe. Yeah, sure, go ahead.
Data-driven decisions. Usually when we consider data-driven decisions, it is usually said garbage in is garbage out. So how do you find out the right data that you feed in to make good insights?
Perfectly right, which is why you have to make sure that if it is a manual data entry, then that is happening correctly. Right, which happens in cases like where maybe there is an offline piece and somebody has to manually enter data. That's why you need to keep that check. Online, you won't run into that problem. Because online data is coming from a platform and that data is usually representative. And you'll be okay. But wherever there is a manual data entry happening is where you have to be careful of that. Yeah, for every level there's data. I mean, I didn't go into the actual source of data for everything, but you will find data for everything.
Thank you.
You can contact me on.
Indeed, ma'am. Data is the king, intelligence is the key, but in the end, it is the funnel that leads you to the right customer in the right time. Thank you, ma'am. By wearing the hats of both the therapist and the marketer, you exemplify the saying, head in the forest and hands in the society, as our beloved Swami says. I would like to call Dr. Akansha Agarwal to hand over a token of appreciation and gratitude to Miss Maheima Kapoor. An organization's culture is its brand. How you treat your employees is how they treat your customers, by Richard Branson. It is my absolute privilege to introduce one of our esteemed speakers today, Ms. Kasturi Cotha, a visionary HR leader award-winning diversity champion, and a driving force in employer branding and talent transformation. With over 25 years of global experience, Ms. Cotha has been at the forefront of shaping HR strategies, fostering inclusive workplaces, and strengthening employer brands for startups, mid-sized organizations, and global capability centers. Her expertise in talent management, diversity, equity, inclusion initiatives, and strategic workforce planning has helped organizations enhance their reputation, attract top talent, and create high performance cultures. Currently serving as the secretary of the NHRD Bangalore chapter, she has led transformative initiatives such as Women in Tech and She is Back, which have significantly advanced global gender diversity and strengthened employer branding efforts. She has held leadership roles at Taylor and Francis Group, Danske IT, and Temenos, where she has successfully designed and implemented HR frameworks that drive business impact and cultural transformation. Ms. Kota's contributions to the HR and the business world have been recognized with multiple prestigious awards, including being named among the most influential and the most innovative 50 HR tech leaders. Today, she will be sharing her insights on employer branding, the secret to marketing success. In a whole world where talent is the ultimate competitive advantage, employer branding is no longer just an HR function. It's a powerful marketing strategy that shapes how organizations are perceived by potential hires, customers, and stakeholders. We're truly honored to have her with us today. So let us put our hands together and give a warm welcome to Ms. Kasturi Kota.
Sairam to all. It's such a pleasure to be here. Thanks to Dr. Sai Manohar, who did approach me to check on to being here amidst of all of you. And I hope I do some justice for this opportunity, which is bestowed to me on Swami's graces. And I'm here. I'm definitely not the alumni. we did have powerful talk from them, and it's a day-long session, and I'm sure nobody would want to be bored and would want to wind up as early as possible. So I'll keep it quite simple and try to be engaging, because we are in a marketing workshop from a HR professional. So I don't know how many of you will relate to it. But we'll try to unveil some of the concepts which are interdisciplinary. I like the introduction when your classmate did share that employer branding is no more limited to only HR function, because for that matter, I would always keep saying to my team members wherever I worked, HR is not only HR's function. It is every people manager's function. So therefore, this also gets unveiled. Perhaps we are the enablers of something innovative. And I keep, practically calling this out as well, that when organization is in crisis and no function has any kind of solution, that's when HR is looked at. And then, it's expected that we are having a magic wand, and then, we disrupt the situation. So anyway, all of that for a HR summit and not for the marketing. So what I really wanted to put in here is, as I mentioned, because this is for a marketing thing. So I really wanted to keep it very simple on the slide, but then have a bit of talking, because that's what HRs are trained for. We talk more and we do enforce, because our message has to go clear and wide across the organization. So therefore we are ingrained to talk more. So the pictures is what I would bring on. Um, what does this image depict to all of us? Culture, history, yes, 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 which is so popular these days, yes. Yeah. But for today, where I wanted to bring some correlation out here is learnings from the past, right? I mean, the scriptures, the monuments, the inscriptions gave us a lot of reflection of what cultural connotation that was cherished in each kingdom or empire, right? So, and essentially what it meant is to ensure it reflected what the culture the kingdom had created, and it wanted the rest of the other kingdoms to get inspired, and of course some of them invited troubles for themselves, or some of them established their might. So with those elements, I mean, I would say employer branding is not new to us. We're just seeing it in a different lens altogether. I mean, it is from this perspective that we would want to look at it. Consider this: kingdoms to country or the organization, and people or citizens to employees. And that's when we see the correlation beautifully matching. So this is about how do we confidently represent the culture that is within the organization, and why is it essential is what we will try and talk through the next set of couple of minutes. Now, why is this very important, and why does it shift gears? As I said, I mean, if we were to look at countries to organization, citizens to employees, what comes in is this. When I put this equation of happy employees to happy customers and happy stakeholders, this is an AI generated picture and not mine. So, so it did give in all elements, and trust me, this equation meant a lot to me, because we have been talking from the morning that what is marketing enabling all the brands, or of course I missed the morning session, so I wouldn't know much, but then we had some exemplary examples being shared on how do you set up a framework, and how are you penetrating into market, how are you looking into those consumer insights, and how are you evaluating the need. But who is ultimately doing all of this? It's the people. So unless we do not give that importance to those set of colleagues that we have, set of employees we have, we would not be able to, get that market orientation. So it's important that we take care of people, and they will take care of the business. And this was been mentioned by many world leaders, and they have recognized this as well. And in turn, it flows back into the stakeholders. Stakeholders here are everyone who's part of that organization or beyond the organization, into the market and into the economy. So why do we need to get into this aspect is also about the first element of talent attraction doesn't just begin, or it doesn't applied only when we have to get the generally in the HR concepts you would have learnt about HR job is to find a right candidate to a right job, or a right job to a right candidate. It just doesn't end there. It goes beyond. So talent attraction, which is one element of employer branding, is way beyond to find this fit. It is about also recognizing that a candidate might not land up with a good, evaluation, but he or she might not disqualify for being an eligible candidate for something in future. So, it is about entrusting the trust index. In fact, the global standards on how trust indexed is evaluated is an above average or a good performing brands should have around 89% as their achievable target of trust index. And how is this trust index evaluated? Based on various parameters of how often the employees are feeling belonged, how often they are endorsing the vision of the organization to their values and systems, and how often they are getting connected into the work, because ultimately it is about productivity. We are all talking about productivity, and profits will enhance provided the people are really entrusted that kind of prime importance. So therefore, this formula is something that, I mean, I'm not talking in air. This is the formula that I have personally used in many of my previous roles and organizations while designing any policies or any, programs. This was a simple formula. It is a simple formula, but then it talks volumes when you unfold, and it goes into multifold when it has to derive its importance. So it also about, as I mentioned, I mean, while we are applying for all of these parameters of happy employees to happy customers, there are few factors what I I took this from, there's a source put in here. It's from one of the report, but it beautifully sat in something that we call as Panchabhutas. I mean, these are the five things that kind of correlates and contributes to workplace sentiment, because these days we talk quite a bit about employee well-being. Organizational climate is very much assessed based on how we are creating that emotional setup within the organization, because we are becoming more and more global. We are becoming more and more virtual. So connecting with all set of generation, because in India we are having the demographic dividend of 5 generations in the workforce, which is quite a tremendous factor in itself. So having all of this, because each of generation might have a different need that is needed. Not everybody is very particular about how their career enhancement has to be done, and not everybody is really bothered about how their performance rating is come, because they are prioritizing something else over their performance. So all of these are different elements that gets contributed on a practical sense when we are designing any intervention that are required from an employer branding perspective. This is something that since it was more like a workshop, I thought, okay, there's a lot of elements that go into creating employer branding. It is just not one policy or one practice. Rather, every piece that has to deliver that credibility into the reputation of the organization, and it has to be constant, it has to be continuous, and it has to be very consistent as well. I did see in the previous slide where it was used as consistency is the king. Yeah, consistency is everything. So that has to be constant, because that's when you are also conditioning the perception, and then you're also creating, because as we go by, it is also envisaged that by 2030 the skilled workforce is going to become the war for skilled workforce is going to become more fierce and more acute in terms of availability. So therefore, if an organization doesn't invest on setting their reputation, it is going to perish. We will not be having the right set of talent. Of course, there is skilled unemployment also that is, will be, that's for another day to discuss and diagnose as to why it leads to. But then coming from an employer branding perspective, it is so important that we derive all of these relevance and then keep it relevant to the times, because it is also about going back to the point that who is the ultimate customer or consumer of your organization. and what kind of skills will enable your organization to drive to that efficiency. So all of this has to be there. So this was a simple tool that I found some time back, and I literally had to dig back into which report I had seen this piece, but somehow some Google memory did help me to get back that report, and here it is. In 2024, I had seen this report from a it's called Talent Neuron, who had come up with the concept of how do we help deriving an employee value proposition, because employee value proposition is something that is an integral part of how your employer branding is designed. And this simple tool of 5 aspects spins off how that basic foundation of designing your employee value proposition is presented. Basically, contextualizing your work setting is on the first prime most importance, and then people in itself has to be recognized as to how are we bringing that collective workforce together, and what is the purpose that we are driving them with. And rewards is another parameter. Rewards here is generalized with compensation, with benefits, and also for some of them it could be a profession is beyond paycheck. It's an endorsement that they would carry. So what is that? So each one of them will have their own priorities. So offering that basket of option for them is something that is uniquely coming forward, and more innovative practices are being imbibed into this. And then, of course, growth opportunities. It is just not about career, transitioning from one role to the other, but also these days we're talking about how cross-training or a reskilling that can be enabled in an organization is when you are having that job rotation made more valuable. Each function, each person is realizing how it is enabling them to have a holistic career development. So all of those, and of course very importantly the culture that has already set in the organization and values that are driving that culture, because culture and values is always top down. It's never, it can't just be entrusted, although it is top down, it has to be owned. So how do we make it more relevant for them? How do we make it more engaging? How do we keep it very time relevant is a constant churn that keeps happening. Now, how is employee value proposition getting redesigned very often? One of the mechanism has been on surveys, employee pulse survey. So you're trying to recognize as to what is the pulse of the organization. It is through the people, because that's where is our indisposable strength is. So how do we define all of a value-adding support system for each of the employees is so important, and one of the mechanism is this. And second, of course, being relevant to the not just to the customer, it is also function of every HR, because the roles within HR is also evolving. It's becoming more and more relevant in terms of how optimistically we are, or how oriented we are towards understanding the business relevance. So all of this is getting more and more evolved. Now, so as I mentioned, I'm going to spend a little more time on EVP here, because that's the very crucial one, because what drives the organization is the employee value proposition, and it just doesn't happen. Trust me, having tried to work within, with 25 years of my HR career, I've at least had four mergers and acquisitions that I had to manage and part of. So getting realigned to a culture is so important, and I'm sure in Dilip sir's examples, we did see how Coke lost to Thumbs Up. it's only because of the cultural misfit. And these days it's becoming even more important because the boundaries of the organization is no more limited to a cultural connotation, right? I mean, we are not really, limiting ourselves geographically. We are becoming more and more global. It's otherwise called as globalization these days. So everywhere, when there is already the economy is flourishing with its own cultural conditioning, an organization which is setting up its operations, say far east in say China, Japan, to far west in US, should have all of these cultural values of an organization being made relevant to everyone. Multi-generation is important, and here again the aspect of diversity, equity and inclusion comes in such crucial, because everyone has to be made inclusive. So it is so important that we drive the factor as to why is needed. The minute we identify why that EVP is needed, and then that kind of has a domino effect on how and when and what has to be included to it, to make out, because there is so much of undue power games that some of the organizations have gone into and then lost its whole essence. So it is so important. As much as it is powerful, it can also become powerless if it is not administered right. Anyway, I mean, that dissection is for more relevant for HR Summit than Marketing Summit. So we'll, go on for a next set of few things. Another element, and what is becoming more and more significant, I mean, is while EVP is also strengthening the employees of the organization within, because there is so much of internal stories that has to given confidence. Many a times we're moving more from a mechanized workforce to a knowledge-based workforce. So therefore that narratives also should keep changing and shifting. And here is where this entire, the concept doesn't lie just within HR, it goes beyond HR, that every function who is a face of, organization has to imbibe that values and then take it forward. And bringing it, relevant to the younger generation whose span of concentration is quite less, and then they're a lot more challenged because, there's that much of awareness and that much of information that young workforce has. So to keep it relevant, it becomes even more challenging. So EVP is something that, we organizations have started seeing that, the shelf life of EVP is changing within 24 months. So which wasn't the case earlier. It is, I'm sure it is going to shorten as we go by and keep shifting it. And it just doesn't end only for the talent attraction per se, it is also for talent retention. Why do I need to stay back here when any organization is giving me, okay, if I were to, since I have been for 24 years in technology industry of 25 years of HR, so I'll take an example of technology. Every organization is offering the best of the technology framework, best of the, latest of the technologies that are there, best, exposure to the market, because you're able to see the contribution of technology much easier than any other, industry, right? So while all of this is there, what is so differentiator for a person to join? So it is so important. And once they've joined, rehire is such a costly affair for every organization, because you have invested so much on hiring, training, getting the person in, and sometimes the meter starts just on the day the person has already come in, if at all you are in a service-based organization. So it is so important that we keep it relevant and we keep it going, and we keep it, instant. While all of this is there, so retention becomes even more important, to say that, why one has to stay back in the organization that they have come in, because we are to, while everything is being offered by everyone, where is that cutting edge differentiator? So retention is equally important. and therefore maybe perhaps for this employer branding remained within HR function and didn't move to marketing function perhaps. I mean, this is something that I have always had my marketing colleagues and I exchange and laugh it out, that, because retention is the key mantra than attraction. So why should they, one should stay back, becomes even more relevant. And what else? And then while we are in this entire life cycle of talent focus, right from talent acquisition to management to the development, the entire life cycle, we also see that how employer branding is driving in or inseeding itself into the kind of experiences that we are setting up, not just for our colleagues or employees, but also someone who may not engage with us. Like a rejected candidate can be rejected for various reasons, but how are we ensuring that they become a brand ambassador? For an exit employee, how are we ensuring that they come back or they can even boldly refer someone else for the roles? So, I had a situation or an anecdote to share here. Is a colleague of mine was moving to a different organization, literally for no much compensation hike, but it is just that it was closer to home, because he had small children, and then wife is also it's a nuclear family, wife also has to pursue. It was closer to home. And I mean, the experience that we had to establish for his exit was so much relevant that he brought in at least some 6 to 7 candidates for his own replacement. Can you believe it? So it is that kind of experience that has to be established, and EVP or employer branding is all about how are you setting that experience, how are you deriving that importance in establishing that well set experience across all the functions, across all the situations of an employee life cycle. So it is important that we derive all these processes. So employer branding is also enabling for us to, when I say us, the HR functions, to become more enabled in terms of being more relevant and being more appreciated. Yeah, and another important element of all of these days, I mean, given the kind of chaotic workplace that we are moving to in terms of hybrid working, remote working, and multi-generational workforce, multi-cultural presence, there is chaos. There is definitely a chaos. I mean, perhaps an organized chaos than an unorganized one. So how are we also recognizing to address this is where we bring in that holistic well-being. And unless this well-being of the organization, the organizational climate is not being addressed or set in right, it is going to be very difficult for us to drive in engaged employment. So therefore, these well-being measures are also one of the core element of how are we designing our EVPs. When I say EVP, I mean EVP is one strong correlator for employer branding. So therefore, I'm bringing time and again on the EVP point. Yeah. So. Because we will have to ensure that because we are not in a mechanized world anymore. We are evolving and becoming more and more, knowledge-based workforce. So bringing that holistic well-being is also another important element, which is also contributing to the equation. So do you all remember the equation that we spoke? Yeah. Stakeholders, absolutely. So for this, we will have to ensure, we remain and we maintain our relevance there. Yeah. And another constant, turmoil might be a very strong word. How do I put a constant juggler between is there's a notion that employees leave managers. Yeah, there's a notion. But yeah, bad bosses. Yeah, that bad ma'am got added later on. Otherwise, it was always seen as managers. So, but then it is also to sensitize that why managers are not able to look at that well-being, because the first and foremost connector for every employee is, manager. And I have seen this young workforce, who's had a challenge with the manager for whatsoever, has put a WhatsApp status saying, using a dirty word and saying, of the manager. And I mean, and the manager comes to me saying, this is what has happened. So how do I do now? WhatsApp, though, is a nationalized communication channel, but is not recognized as an official communication channel. So how do I address? So we are so much indispensable in terms of, information going live in just no minute. So it's so much important that we ensure that every factor is keyed in and sensitized to everyone. So there's a constant, identification of what has to be, brought in for awareness for the managers vis-a-vis to the employees. How is it going to, damage their own reputation? And reputation, of course, is not limited only to the organization, people who are working in the organization, because ultimately organization is sum of all people. So it is so important that we manage that reputation for others as well. So that is also becoming more and more relevant. And at the same time, what one do in their personal time is also getting impacted. I mean, because there's no more, 8-hour job is not limited, right? These days we are even getting to see 70-hour jobs, staring at wife. All of those concepts are also, creating that kind of hazardous image about a brand reputation and a workplace reputation. So it's so important that every element is measured well. Now, why am I bringing this is to ensure relevance on why here today we are talking about in a marketing summit about a HR topic. It is because some of the HR concepts are, so aligned. This again is an AI image. When I gave a prompt saying, give me an image where HR is talking to communication, to PR, to marketing. This was the image that came in. And then why was it important for us to assess why every function it has to, talk in? We just spoke about the challenges that we will face if communication is not rightly handled. It's no more internal. So there used to be a time in mid my career, not that I've ended my career, little past in my career, where internal communication was part of HR, external communication was part of marketing, but now it is so interlinked, because what we speak internally is also going to be exposed outside, and what we do externally is also going to be brought inside. So it's so integral. So it has to work, multidisciplinary out here. So it is so important that we bring in relevance in understanding why all of these parameters are so important in designing. And again, marketing is also about holding on to your customers, and holding on to customers is also, penetrating into the talent, challenges that we will have in terms of absence of skilled workforce. How do we train and retrain our workforce? All of these elements are very relevant if only our employees are going to talk good about us, right? And how are they going to talk, and what are they going to talk? I mean, there are organizations which have also made some templates available saying that you want to do any social post about the organization, please use these relevant hashtags, please use the relevant text. And these are the, words that has to be used, because, culturally, especially when the Me Too movement happened, oh my God, I mean, there were many organizations which kind of called out, many employees called out that the organizations are not taking a stand. And it is not easy for an organization to take a stand, especially when it's politically driven. especially when it is culturally shaking. So it becomes so difficult. But unless you don't take a stand, it is so difficult to convince and retain that importance, because it's so easy for one to say that, okay, I'm not feeling belonged here. One statement of that, and then you are going to spend rest of your effort in only getting that realigned. I mean, I'm sure all of you would have heard about Glassdoor and all those things. It just a small tweet there can ruin the reputation. So it is so much important that it becomes so very imbibed into our day-to-day function, that everything is being communicated. And especially another important, I mean, I can fairly say here, if there's no one from HR, I don't want to put them into scary situation. If anything is told by HR, it is like Veda Vakya. So HR has told, then it has to be a thing. It's so easy. No, the other day HR told this. No, when I was offered this job, the recruiter told this. When I, onboarded, my onboarding colleague told this. So it's so important that anything that comes from HR has to be a thing. So it becomes really important that what at each level one is going to communicate, how it is going to be communicated, to what extent it will be communicated, everything has to be monitored. So therefore, employer branding is not just for the external world, it is also for the internal workforce. And more so coming for an Indian context, I would also see this as a great opportunity for all of us in the Indian diaspora to ensure that we are establishing ourselves as credible and dependable economy. The workforce demographic dividend that we have has to be very well managed. So it becomes important that when we are working globally with many other colleagues, it's so important that we imbibe our cultural aspects of our economy and country is also confidently brought forward. Yeah, there is a differentiator. This has got nothing to do from an organizational employer branding, but more from a country branding. So it is important. So I do make it a fact that wherever possible, I do call this out, because we are working boundaryless these days. We are working far out of reach. So it's important that we give representation of our country and our value system upheld. So leaving you all on that note. So what I would say is crafting an employer brand, it's not a journey. Well, it's not a destination, it's a journey. And on that note, thank you so much. And I hope all of you enjoyed as much as I did. And thank you for this wonderful opportunity. And Sairam. Any questions? Yes. No questions means they're either confidently convinced or they're confused. So
Thank you, Ms. Kasturi Cotha, for the insightful talk. Truly, culture is the reason for success, but success is success only when it results in happiness, not just to customers or stakeholders, but also to the employees, the backbone of the organization. Talent is not just what is seen, but what is latent, the untapped strength. What truly drew my attention in the talk is the paradox that exists everywhere, striving for consistency where the only constant factor is change. I think HR leaders like you, ma'am, are best balanced stars. Thank you for throwing light on these inevitable important facts. Your talk exemplifies the statement: a brand is built not just by logos or ads, but by people who live its values every day. Experience that creates brands. This, I think, is the most interesting and exciting journey. Thank you, Ma'am. I now call upon Ms. C. Priyanka Raju to present the token of appreciation and gratitude to Ms. Kasturi Cotha. Benjamin Franklin once said, and I quote, "An investment in knowledge pays the best interest," unquote. I think we made one such best investment today. As we draw curtains, let's remember, every ending sparks a start, a journey forward, mind and heart. From every talk, every speech, a lesson learned, a goal to reach. The words we heard, the thoughts we shared, have sparked new dreams, have made us dare. But before we part, before we close, a moment of gratitude as wisdom flows. I now invite Ms. Jyotirmay Yaramani to deliver the vote of thanks for this session. Thank you.
Om Shri Sai Ram, offering my most humble pranams at the divine lotus feet of our beloved Mother Sai. People do not buy goods and services. They buy relationships, stories, and magic. And behind every great brand is gratitude for its customers and community. This profound thought perfectly encapsulates the essence of today's event, where marketing transcends mere transactions. Today, we have witnessed the power of knowledge sharing, collaboration, and gratitude in shaping our perspectives in marketing. With a heart full of appreciation, I stand before you to deliver the vote of thanks for this remarkable gathering. I extend my heartfelt gratitude to all the speakers for their insightful sessions. Ms. Amudha Ranganathan, who told us the importance of learning from failure, with fail fast and fail cheap. Ms. Shruthi Bopaiah highlighted the power of star behavior, inspiring us to stand out with authenticity and impact. Ms. Ganta Dilip Kumar, who brought in practiced industry lens, and Mr. Sri Sai Venkatraman, who reinforced strategy dreams but sales make it real, reminding us that execution drives success. Ms. Mahima Kapoor emphasized how marketing is not just about ads, but about the balance of heart and brain. Ms. Kasturi Cotha, who spoke on happy customers plus happy employees gives happy stakeholders, and how a business starts with people inside and out. These are not just marketing lessons, but lessons for life. We are sincerely grateful for all the time and effort you have dedicated to sharing your knowledge with us. A heartfelt appreciation to Dr. K. Sai Prasad, Dean and Professor at College of Journalism, Media and Communication, Dayanand Sagar University, for his unwavering guidance and invaluable support in shaping today's workshop. Your pivotal role in arranging the distinguished speakers and ensuring a seamless exchange of ideas have been truly enriching. I would like to thank Venkatraman sir once again, who was the catalyst for today's event by connecting with our esteemed speaker. A profound expression of gratitude to our Chancellor K. Chakravarti Garu, Managing Trustee R.J. Ratnakar Garu for their support and guidance. Their encouragement has been instrumental in fostering growth and excellence within our institution.
A heartfelt gratitude to our Vice Chancellor, Professor B. Raghavendra Prasad, Registrar, Dr. Shrikant Khanna, and Controller of Examination, Dr. G. S. Sri Rangarajan. I would also like to extend my deep gratitude to the Director of our campus, Professor Rani P.L., for the steadfast encouragement, visionary leadership, and unwavering support for fostering an environment of learning. A special note of appreciation to our warden, Dr. Meera Manikavachakan, for ensuring impeccable hospitality arrangements for our esteemed guests and us too. A warm thanks to Dr. K. Sai Manohar, Director, Vrindavan Campus, for his invaluable networking and relentless efforts in bringing esteemed speakers to this event. His unwavering commitment to fostering connections has not only been instrumental today, but has consistently enriched our department and institutions with numerous opportunities over time. Thank you, sir. As a token of appreciation, I would request Ms. Aparna to present a token of gratitude to Sai Manohar sir for his support and contributions to this occasion. With due respect, I would like to thank Professor of Practice C. N. Kshetragna sir for transforming classrooms into stimulating boardrooms. Thank you, sir. In addition, we would like to extend our gratitude to Dr. G. Padmavati and Dr. U. Sumarao for steadfast support throughout the program. Please receive the token of gratitude and appreciation, ma'am. Please receive the token of gratitude and appreciation. Thank you. Should I tell about Padmavati ma'am again? Just tell about Padmavati ma'am. The two strong pillars of our department, Dr. G. Padmavati, head of the department, and Dr. Suma Rao, have put in their everything into the event, and they have been an invaluable support for the session. A heartfelt thanks to Dr. Akanksha Agarwal, coordinator of the event, whose relentless efforts, meticulous planning have made this event an overwhelming success. Thank you, ma'am. A deep sense of gratitude to all the teachers and scholars of Department of Management and Commerce, Sri Satya Sai Institute of Higher Learning, Anantapur Campus, for guidance, support, inspiration, and wisdom. Your dedication shapes minds and empowers future. We deeply appreciate Tabassum ma'am for her patience and technical support. Thank you, ma'am. Our gratitude to Mr. Venugopal for social media support and Mr. Raghuram for audio-visual support and flawless execution of all digital aspects. A heartfelt thanks to Dhanalakshmi Akka for taking care of all the back-end arrangements. Additionally, sincere gratitude to all our sisters for their enthusiastic participation, all the viewers online and all the well-wishers for adding warmth and vibrancy to this event. Lastly, but above all, I express my deepest gratitude to our founder chancellor, Bhagwan Sri Satya Sai Baba, for boundless blessings and countless opportunities. His divine grace made this event possible and successful in every way. Once again, thank you all for being part of this event and contributing to its resounding success. This is not the end, but rather the beginning of many more enriching events in future. We look forward for more opportunities to learn and grow and celebrate knowledge together. To conclude this insightful session, I invite Ms. Maheima Kapoor and Dr. Akanksha Agarwal to offer Aarti to Swami as a token of love and devotion. Wishing you all a wonderful day ahead. Thank you. Jai Sai Ram. I'll also request Kasturi Kotha ma'am to join for Aarti. Thank you. Jai Sai Ram.
जगदीश हरे स्वामी सत्य भक्त जना जय जगदीश हरे शशिवदना श्रीकरा सर्वापते स्वामी सर्वापते आश्रित कल्पलतिका आश्रित कल्पलतिका आवद्बान्धवा ॐ जय जगदीश हरे मातपिता गुरुदैवमु मर्यन्तयो नीवे स्वामी मर्यन्तयो नीवे नाद ब्रह्म जगन्नाथा नाद ब्रह्म जगन्नाथा नागेन्द्रशयना ॐ जय जगदीश हरे ओंकार रूपौ जय श्री ओम साई महादेवा सत्य साई महादेवा मंगलारति अंधुको मंगलारति अंधुको मंगल गिरिधारी ओ देवा नारायण नारायण ओम सत्य नारायण 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 ओम नारायण नारायण ओम सत्य नारायण नारायण ओम सत्य नारायण ओम जय सद्गुरुदेवा नारायण नारायण ओम सत्य नारायण 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 ओम नारायण नारायण ओम सत्य नारायण नारायण ओम सत्य नारायण नारायण
शान्तिः समस्तलोका सुखिनो भवन्तु समस्तलोका सुखिनो भवन्तु सुखिनो भवन्तु शान्ति शान्ति जय बोलो भगवान श्री सत्य साई बाबा जी की
Pardon the mishap. We extend a heartfelt welcome and gratitude to the Assistant TPO, Mr. Praveen, for gracing the occasion. Thank you, sir. I request all the guests to partake the snacks. We also have 2 fun activities for all of us in the lobby outside. As you all enjoy 1 cup of coffee, please enjoy the 2 fun activities outside. Thank you. Jai Sai Ram. Also, I request all the first MBA sisters to stay back. Thank you.